Here in the city of Doors, Dame's troubles tend to go unheard. The factions keep their own law, and the average Joe, well, we're stuck carving out our own order. But Sigil isn't without help. When you've got a problem with no solution, a puzzle with no key, there's only one joint in town to turn to. They might not be the most professional outfit around, but they always solve the case. Because when you're desperate enough to turn to these idiots, you'll find your conundrum might just be open and shut.
Hello and welcome to the little mystery-solving D&D campaign, folks. My name is Austin, and as always, I'm joined by Peary petitioners parking their ears. Say hello, everyone.
Howdy.
How's it going?
Slang and alliteration. Is it Christmas already?
If you want to know what it means, look it up. Anyway, we are back for Campaign 2, Season 1, Episode 5. These openings are starting to get longer and longer. We're reaching the halfway point of our season, but before we get into this new adventure, I'm going to toss it over to Sophia to do her little thing. What's up, Sophia?
What's that over there? Great. While they're all distracted, here's a little thing that you need to know. Number one, we are once again taking our mid-season break, so there will be no episode next week, but never fear, episode 6 of Open and Shut will be back the week after next. Bi-weekly, not that bi-weekly. And then we'll be resuming our weekly uploads from there, so we're just going to take a little break. In the interim, there will be a fun little Q&A. Check the show notes and our socials for the date and time on that over on YouTube if you're not watching us there. And that's the housekeeping-y stuff. But that's all I got. Hey, Austin, you were so easily distracted by my clever ruse, my bit. Austin, over here. Look over here. You're right, in control of the podcast again.
I'm locked in, folks. I just want to throw in a quick disclaimer. We cannot guarantee the Q&A will be fun. That's on you. You bring the fun yourself.
I like to think that we're entertaining enough personalities at this point to
I think we'd make our own fun, even if not a single question.
I simply won't guarantee it. I don't want to be held legally responsible for another person's fun.
We all rebel against Austin and make our own fun we oust the no fun overlord in favor of our own little games.
I think No Fun Overlord is actually a great GM title.
Is the DM the No Fun Overlord, or is the producer the No Fun Overlord? That's the crucial question when it comes to a D&D podcast.
I make the fun happen. I'm facilitating the fun.
I'm the fun facilitator.
Yes.
I can't be the fun police.
I make the fun, she said unfunnily.
Well, now that we've circled back around to our annual event of roasting Sophia for making the show, let's make the show.
Then with no further ado, when last we left our heroes, we return back to that awe-inspiring Taurus, the city of doors, the Great Cage, Sigil itself. Picking up from our last adventure, as usual, I'm going to open the floor for any sort of housekeeping that our heroes might be taking part of, any day-to-day chores, things like that they might want to do. For one, Ingrid, business cards, Bileyg.
Yes, I was going to say, I've got Ingrid's dressed up in like the big cat eye sunglasses and like the headscarf wrapped around like she's been on like a motor car situation, little scarf coming out the back. Audrey Hepburn ass walking into the print shop like, I need 500 more of these, please, on your finest print. Chucking my sending stone periodically to make sure that my agent hasn't been leaving angry voicemails.
He often does. He often does leave angry voicemails.
Man just can't take no for an answer. Yes. I'm giving them out constantly. Why aren't you? I guess they dissolve.
Because you have them all.
I keep giving them to Oobtaglor and they keep putting them inside of their body and then it just goes...
You can't.
They're just floating there.
Every time. I can't control the rate at which I dissolve things.
We'll get you like a little card holder, you know?
You need to laminate these. Does lamination exist?
Does lamination exist?
No.
It's a secret mind flayer technology.
A hard no in an improv show. That's crazy.
Laminated.
It's plastic, so it's mind flayer technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like in
Laminators are far realm
when she
tech.
gives Hoggle her bracelet, and it's like, whoa, plastic, because he doesn't know what plastic is. We're living in a labyrinth world, you know.
Speaking of hogs, pig tax.
Oh right, yeah, you two have you two have errands as well.
I was going to say who's feeding the mimic and what are they feeding it?
Who's feeding? Ooze feeding.
Hey.
I'm just buying a pig, same as per usual.
All right. Yep. I think 3. What did we? Oh my goodness.
5 copper.
I think it was 5. It was 5 copper. Coppers. Wow. I really am generous.
I rolled
That
really
seems low.
well
That's
on
like
that
dinner.
bargain check.
Yeah, I think you did. All right. Stock. Anyway, they're not their best pigs that you're getting. I think you probably negotiated for their worst pigs, honestly.
Sure.
The
That's fine.
The house
one's
can't
really
tell the
looking
difference.
Exactly. All right. Mark those off. You continue to feed the house pigs. Does anyone have anything else they are curious or they're interested in taking care of?
I was thinking
Fantastic.
of getting a little guy for the office. like
About time.
like a little creature that like a lap cat, but this is a fantasy world, and I feel like there's got to be and Austin, you're a big biology guy, so I feel like if anyone's got a little creature ready to go that I could get at like a pet shop that's cat-like but is not just a straight cat, what would that
Easy.
cost me, and what is it?
Tressum.
Huh?
Yes, that's the word I
Do
would.
have Tressums. Okay. Roll me an animal handling check.
Great. This is a straight roll.
Is this just Ingrid
Uh-huh.
on the street trying to catch something?
Cranium rat, cranium rat.
Well, this is Ingrid going about interacting with animals.
It's a 10. It's exactly in the middle.
A 10. As you begin your process, there are all kinds of animals out there that you can purchase. There's a veritable menagerie of strange
all
and
other things.
interesting creatures. Many of them from the Feywild. The Feywild tends to produce these little dudes. That's very common.
Yeah.
But they're from all
Labyrinth-ass
over the place.
dimension.
There's, you've got pygmy versions of big animals and dire versions of small animals. Miniature giant space hamsters, very famous and popular. On a 10, I think perhaps that there's perhaps this is not a one roll situation. That this might be a small side quest that you're partaking in. As you go around, no animals bite you, but nothing really strikes your fancy as you consider the business that you're trying to uphold and the aura you're trying to project. Right, there's a very certain feel that you want to give to the office, and everything is
Cranium rat.
they're either too grimy or they're too whimsical, and it gives off
Like a clever-
not the right vibes.
A clever little creature, small but furry, like a rat of some kind.
You can just say you want a cranium rat.
Cranium. Oh god.
Not so much.
On a 10, you start thinking about cranium rats and how useful they would be. A clever creature, a useful creature,
Yeah.
perhaps, right? Like a tressum would be a little
It's stately,
superfluous,
but it
right?
puts out the vibe of like,
They're adorable.
retired granny, and I might be pushing into the 500s, but that's not really
Not
my
there
vibe.
yet.
Never. It's always looming, the big 500. 499, and you could take that to the bank. Right out of the check.
It's a real old person vibe to have a cat. And so you start thinking, you're like, snake, a little too aggressive. Dog, you gotta take it out all the time. And then you settle on rat. You start thinking, nowhere, you can't find a good rat. You attempt to catch one in the streets, but they are they're kind of tuned into your
It's like it
they're kind
knows
of
where I'm
tuned
going.
into your intentions, and they're able to keep away from you. And so it's with a heavy heart that you're going to have to put a pause on this
I'm going to
adventure,
put a
but
pin
perhaps
in
in
this
the near
one.
future.
You have to lure them in by thinking about, like, oh, I just can't wait to give them just a lovely block of cheese and a nice little bed, and oh, I can just picture it now. The
Nice
exact
little red
lovely,
wine pairing. It's going to be a posh
beautiful
rat.
little robe.
Ingrid
hat.
will. She won't say
Little
anything to
taupe
the
for
rest
them
of the
to
crew.
hide underneath.
I'm not gonna.
Oh no, Evrard was sitting on this stoop, watching Ingrid chase after these rats.
I'm not gonna say anything to anyone. They can observe what they will observe. They're detectives. I'm not here to tell them what they can and cannot piece together. But I'm gonna very subtly and very quietly pin to the big corkboard in the office under the to-do section, rat ? And just kind of put that there for later. This is.
We need a rat
I would
guy.
like this to be my little quest, Austin. This is my last campaign. I got to build things, and this campaign I would like to find a rat to be my friend.
Okay. I think we could probably make it happen.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
With that quest underway, does anyone else have any other housekeeping they'd like to see to? Fantastic. Then we will pick up, not following a rat excursion or any misadventures involving trying to get an office pet. Instead, we will pick up in the early hours of the morning. Before light has even come to Sigil, there's no sunrise, it simply brightens. But before light has even come to Sigil, in the early hours before peak, Bileyg, you sleep.
Yeah.
And as you sleep, you dream.
Perchance.
You find yourself, once again, beneath the gentle silver sky of Myrdion, the fifth heaven of Mount Celestia.
Aw.
Adorned in your armor, sword at your side, you wander the vast grasslands of this world, the horizon dotted with the great black domes this layer boasts in place of mountains. As you walk, you round a rocky outcropping and come to a pool, cold water fed by snowmelt from worlds above, reflecting the leaning willow that towers over it. It's now that you hear a splash and a noise, almost like a voice. No words, but strained. Gently splashing, you see in the water a face that belongs to a young humanoid. The Zavari, one of the octopus humanoids from the Silver Sea 4 layers below, splashes about as if it's drowning.
Oh no.
What did you do?
I waded into the water to attempt to help.
Casting aside any suspicion, any reluctance, you immediately wade into the water, cloak billowing out behind you, armor weighing you down, but these pools tend to be very shallow. No one here drowns this high on Mount Celestia. You begin wading out, sword in your hand, so that it doesn't kind of hold you down. And you see, as you get close, this humanoid, this Zavari. It seems to be struggling to breathe. It's splashing about, not as if it can't swim, as if water's getting into its lungs, but instead, like it's trying to breathe and can't, like its neck is tight and its mouth is gaping open like a fish that's pulled out of water. As you reach it, what do you do?
I believe I attempted to see if it was injured, visibly. My first
Roll me
instinct
a-
would have been to do a lay on hands, but
Roll me a medicine check.
I will do so. All right. Medicine I'm not so great at, but you know.
I believe in you, buddy.
Tis only an 8.
Don't
Only an
believe
8.
hard enough.
As you begin to pump lay on hands in, you notice that the individual points of lay on hands are not having any kind of effect. Holding the small creature out of the water, small, a little bit smaller than you are at your
Just a
halfling
little.
size.
Yeah.
Holding it out of the water, again, this very shallow pool that you're able to, basically you're on, like, up to your chin in water
Yeah.
here, kind of holding it. You begin to try to escape the pool, maybe bring it onto land to get a better look, better examine it, perhaps even go find help, when you feel, at first, a tug, small, like something below you is pulling, even though you can feel the muddy ground underneath you is firm. There's a moment where something kind of tugs, and before you have a moment to consider what might be pulling on you, something down there grabbing your ankle, you are pulled so forcefully that the world vanishes. You let go of the Zavari. There's blackness, ice cold water around you, and then you feel the sudden motion of dropping. You hit something hard on the ground and are spewed out into the ditch of Sigil, hit the ground into the ditch, hit water, which you hit like a gelatinous surface,
water,
and then
quote,
begin
unquote.
to kind of sink in. You see like chunks of stuff rising up, bubbles that smell of methane begin to rise up as soon as you've disturbed something under the surface.
Whoa.
And as this dream that recalls the incidents that led you here some time ago comes to this moment where you first arrived in Sigil, this dream, which has been playing out exactly as you remember, changes. You feel a hand grasp the back of your armor and tunic, pulling you out. And as you are pulled out of the ditch, the world falls away, blackness, and you are rotated to see your benefactor, the creature pulling you out, is the familiar face of the hag Auntie Ilanka Puzzleweaver.
Oh, great.
Hey, buddy.
Huge face looming in space here to your small body floating there. You hear her,
Such sweet memories. I've been having some memory troubles myself tonight, and I require your particular expertise. I know we got off on the wrong foot when we first met, but I'd like to put things right again. If you help return what has been taken from me, I can return what I took from you. Consider it.
and you wake up in your bed, cold sweat, in your apartment.
Oh, great. Great. How early is it? Is it still the wee hours?
Dawn.
All right. Okay. I think Bileyg wasn't even thinking about potentially waking up Evrard, so Evrard is probably also awake.
I'm already up.
Yeah. All right. Great. All right. Good morning, Evrard. Sorry for the rude awakening.
No, no problem. I've been up for a while. Did you sleep well?
Not so much. I think Bileyg is gonna, like, a little sluggish to start the morning routine, and when he starts pulling his stuff together, like, this is, I think, earlier than he normally gets up, but it's like, well, he's not getting back to sleep, you know, may as well get started on whatever the day's gonna hold, and he contemplates unwrapping the little silk bundle under his bed, and does not, and prepares to head to the office, because there's no way he's dealing with Auntie Ilanka Puzzleweaver without letting the others know before what's going on. But yeah, the mood is not fantastic this morning. Normally Bileyg wakes up with a little bit of a spring in his step, and now it's just like, good, great.
I venture to say that Bileyg is typically a very even person, very consistent in his good manner. So how does this affect Evrard, like seeing Bileyg's mannerisms?
Yeah, I think Evrard, because, you know, you've been sticking around Bileyg's place for, you know, some time now. Bileyg has a very solid routine. It seems to be like a way to stay organized, is like everything has its place, you know, everything has its schedule. And today it seems like everything is taking more steps than usual. It's like normally he's like, okay, make the coffee, you know, pick up the ordered food, and this one he seems to be needing to like think about it every time. Like his mind is elsewhere, and normally this thing that would be muscle memory seems like he's having to sort of make himself do it. But yeah, he'll still do it though. He's very slow and steady. It's just he's slower than usual today.
Monsieur Bileyg, I don't mean to intrude your dreams or your own privacy, but we live in a world where dreams can be a little more than just bad things, bad images our brains like to throw at us. Are you doing all right?
I'll be all right once I got some good food in me. I think, you know how it is. Everything's a little rougher in the wee hours, but yeah. How much do you know about hags, Evrard?
I am extremely lucky to have not met one myself, but growing up, I've heard countless tales of their trickery.
Yeah, that's more than I knew when I came here, so. In any case, I'd rather not tell the story more than once, so maybe we should get to the office and I'll let everyone know what's going on.
Ah, bien sûr. I'm ready to go whenever you are.
All right. Pulls his stuff
Fantastic.
together. Yep.
We zoom out of the hive ward, up into Big Mouth Sigil, and drop back in the lower ward. Arrive in lower ward where your coworkers are already arrived at the office. You enter and see looks like maybe not the greatest night's sleep, a little out of sorts, Bileyg, accompanied by Evrard.
Are you alright,
Good
Bileyg?
morning to the both of
coffee's
you.
on.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I might have our next client. Big caveat that, I wouldn't propose to make a decision on behalf of you all, but, well, I already asked Evrard, how much do you all know about hags?
You should never ask a woman my age what she knows about hags.
Oh, no disrespect to the lady, of course.
I know nothing. This will be interesting.
Yeah. So, as you may or may not be aware of this, but I led a rather sheltered life up until my arrival in Sigil. I grew up in Mount Celestia. Well, I don't like to brag. I tend to think of myself as pretty adaptable, but I tell you, I really thought I knew how things worked before I came here. So my arrival in Sigil was not precisely intentional, and I was rather adrift. I was lost. Still don't know entirely how I came here, but I knew that I wanted to get back as soon as possible. I had my family, I had my daughter, and, well, you may know, they call this place the Cage for a reason. And I was very new in town. I know they have slang for it. Can't remember exactly what they called me back
Voice
then.
of God, what's the slang?
Okay, well, clueless would be someone who doesn't know what's up. They usually use that to refer to a person from the material world, though, who, doesn't even know about planar nonsense. So Bileyg might just be a Burke, which is kind of like a dumb idiot.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Thank you, Voice of God. So I wanted the way back, and I was offered one by Auntie Ilanka Puzzle Weaver, a hag around these
Puzzle Weaver?
parts. Yeah, she,
Interesting. I'm known to solve a few puzzles myself.
yeah.
Ah oui, Monsieur Oob, but these are ag puzzles. They come with a twist, as they always do.
Yeah.
The best ones do they not?
Well, if she'd given me a puzzle, it might have been a little bit more charming, but I didn't realize it was a scam, as it were, You don't run into many of those where I come from. I don't know the extent of her abilities. I was quite surprised when she said she could get me back to Mount Celestia, and she did. She did. It was a part of Mount Celestia I'd never been to. I was born on the third layer, third heaven. Apparently, the first layer, surrounded by an ocean, and I was in my armor. So I started drowning pretty quickly.
Oh my.
And Auntie Ilanka reached back out and said she could take me back, but of course she'd continue to take payment for the deal I'd made because she'd held up her end of the bargain. She'd gotten me to the right plane. And, even if I'd gotten to shore, I don't know if you know this, Mount Celestia, it don't work like a normal mountain. You can't just climb. You have to grow. You have to overcome something to get from where you are. I'd never overcome levels 1 and 2. I'd never even been there. You can really only go up. It could have taken me years before I got back to my home and family. And, I didn't have that kind of time. So I took her hand and she pulled me back in, and, so we're not exactly squared away, I'd say. Because I'm a big fan of the spirit of the law. Perhaps not the letter, but it was a learning experience, I'll tell you that. I'd never seen legal terms manipulated in such a way before, but it was very educational. And I learned a lot more about Sigil that day than I wanted to.
Yes.
So, as mentioned, I don't know the extent of her abilities, but unless I had an extremely unusual dream last night, she reached out seeking some help, and offered the return of what I gave her in payment if we helped her out of whatever jam she's in.
Well, it's not the most normal thing we've been paid in, but if a client reaches out to any one of us, I see no reason not to take the job. Bileyg, I believe that you are the one to make this call, personally and professionally. I'm behind you, whatever you decide.
Oh, well, I wouldn't want to inflict these kinds of problems on anyone who doesn't,
I would say,
what they're
based
getting
on our
into,
line
but-
of work, we've sort of okayed these kind of problems happening. Those guys have been feeding pigs to a house. I feel like this isn't that far removed ethically.
Oh, I forgot that was still happening. Yeah, all right. Well, I appreciate that, I tell you. I mean, I feel a lot better knowing that some of you clever folks will be around here, because I wouldn't put it past her to get another one over on me, even now that I know how she works,
Come now, Bileyg. A pain divided is a pain diminished.
Well,
I was going to say 8 eyes are better than 2, but I don't actually know if we have 8 eyes between us.
How I could have 2 eyes if you wanted.
But couldn't you also have more?
Yes.
This
but
is
if
the
you wanted to
problem.
fit your saying, then here, and I'll exaggerate 2 eyes sticking out of.
Okay.
oh,
Just the
yeah,
mask style.
Yeah.
Ooga.
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Boy, speaking of things I won't forget in a hurry.
Do you know where
I like a
else?
pain divided as a slime saying, since they divide to
Yes.
reproduce.
Oobtaglor briefly splits into 2 Oobtaglors. But not too long, lest it become permanent. Anyway.
I presume you know
Oh.
where this hag resides, or at the very least was calling you to.
Yeah, I mean, unless she's relocated, I believe I can get us there, but,
You do know where she resides. She resides not far from you guys, because she resides not far from where you were dumped off in the ditch. All of this is actually
Heyo.
fairly close together. You can find her at her hut, which is known as the Bemused Bothy, and it's in Scab Way, just off of the Madhouse district.
we have a madhouse district. What a plane.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, well, I know how to get us there, but before we do, we definitely gotta get a full breakfast in us. I expect it's gonna be a busy day. I barely even got first breakfast in me when I rolled out of bed this morning. I tell you, I'm all out of sorts.
Oh, I stopped by
Regale
Bowman's
us
on the
with
way
the half
here. There's bags on the desk and all. I was searching for something and happened to pick up breakfast on the way.
I'm sure we can find a card on the way, too, to supplement. My treat, of course. Okay.
What's in a large halfling breakfast?
Oh, so many things. I've learned that in Sigil, every sausage you get is going to taste different from every other sausage you've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
They've
eggs
all
are
got something
usually...
different in them, and no one can agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get the sausage and eggs breakfast. The eggs are 2 different sizes. One of them's green. You're just kind of hoping it's supposed to be green. Yeah,
All right.
there's a...
Then, after a fantastic halfling breakfast that couldn't be beat, you head over to the Bemused Bothy. Many of the buildings in Sigil bend and twist and sag, but few seem to do so as precariously as the Bemused Bothy. Perhaps it is only the razor vine that wraps around the building that is holding it up. A chimney spirals it, trailing thin black smoke. The few small windows there are opaque with soot. But as you approach, the front door, which was perhaps once a nice shade of green, swings open to invite you in. Whether or not it is indeed inviting is up to you to decide.
Oh, she's cleaned the place up since last time. That's lovely.
With no advice to the contrary, Oobtaglor walks in.
Don't
All
forget to
right,
give out our
Oobtaglor
card.
uncharacteristically
Sigil.
walks 2 legs.
Yeah, grows legs. Whoop.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I haven't done it in a while, so why not?
Well, we can't let them go in alone, can we? And
When in Sigil.
Ah,
Yeah, I hear you gotta walk the walk out here, so...
Evrard's gonna scrunch his nose a little bit. Doesn't like the smell of hag and walks in.
Indeed, the smell is not great as you enter. You've just left the lower ward, moved into the hive ward, and yet the smell in here is it's practically Beastlands air outside compared to in here. As you enter, you see It's kind of what you would imagine, like a charlatan fortune teller's place would look like. There's all sorts of like weird tapestries hanging around. Occasionally you see a little moth flutter from one to the other. There's a bunch of candles, half melted, just placed on other melted candles all around. A little small table in the corner, the tight little fireplace that is burning. It must be wood, but it's producing just black smoke that's trailing up. And you see stirring
nightmare.
a pot hung over it, a hunched figure as Oobtaglor steps in, and then the rest of you follow. She taps the ladle, turns kind of crookedly, and says,
Close the door, close the door. That fresh Sigil air does terrible things for my health.
So
Evrard
it's just that one bit of
will-
over the garden wall.
Evrard will politely oblige and gently close her door.
He's probably playing a game with someone who likes so much of the same shit I do.
Eh.
Who recognizes as soon as I pull a reference.
Red for
Fantastic.
Phil.
She turns and you see a like pretty stereotypical hag. She's pretty big. She's larger than any of you, which is not saying that much considering the largest of you is an
Yeah.
elf. But she's
I'm
even
very
bigger than a normal
stately.
humanoid.
Bro, just a bunch of little
She's-
guys.
You imagine she would even be taller if it wasn't for this crazy hunch that she has that kind of brings her head down closer to Ingrid's eye level. She's just got long, matted gray hair, green skin, the full alphabet, all these like mismatched rags sewn together, patches just like haphazardly attached, like not even really covering the hole, only like half covering it. You see one of the moths leaves from her robe, and she just catches it.
I love her.
There's a little crunch, then she removes a wing from her mouth, and she says,
Oh, Oobtag.
excuse me, she doesn't know Oobtaglor.
Oh, Bileyg.
I was gonna be
Oh,
My
we're
mistake,
in
sorry.
danger.
In a pinch,
New
you can
campaign,
always
PC
say that the
names
hag.
still messed up.
You can always say that the hag made a deal with you and
Hag
took your
knows
memories of knowing the hag.
Bileyg, I see you've brought your friends. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A pleasure to meet you, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Auntie Lanka Puzzle Weaver.
Extends a long, crooked hand to each of you.
Morning, ma'am. Love what you've done with the
And
place.
your names.
I am Oobtaglor Oobtaglor, and I am pleased to make your acquaintance, madam.
The pleasure is mine.
Moth flies out.
Yeah,
The same one.
just one broken wing.
Moth flies out into Oobtaglor, dissolves into Oops.
They're like
That's a good
kindred
bit.
spirits or something.
We're like shooting stars, you and I.
Turns to the others of you.
Ingrid, darling.
Evrard
darling.
will.
Pleasure.
Okay.
It's like these people didn't grow up in the Feywild or something.
I know,
Oh, the
right?
famed Ingrid Starling. I've heard much talk about you in the more refined circles of Sigil, and even more talk among the ne'er-do-wells, if I may say.
Well,
Very-
everyone is allowed to appreciate the theater, darling.
Indeed.
She turns sour when you say that. Then she turns to Evrard.
Evrard will take her hand, bow, and he says, Lapin, your horriblest. H's are tough in French. Here we go. Your horribleness. And then he will take a flower out from his pocket, hold it close to her until it wilts, and then put it into her hair.
You get extra roll readings
Yeah,
of
it
Wally's
does.
character.
So you wonder if it's the Feywild magic or just the smell. But she goes,
Oh, ever the gentlemen. I see they do still teach manners in the Feywild. Do you hail from there, my friend?
Not me myself, but my family, yes.
Well, good strong blood then. Kind folk, please take a seat. Has Bileyg informed you as to the nature of our relationship?
We we've been given the spark notes. We're given to understand that you may have
The
a
what?
job that needs doing. You know when you cast a spell that does lightning damage, and sometimes there's like a residual bit of magic in the air, and you can use that to sort of quickly understand the gist of the spell that was cast. Yes, the spark notes. Give me any real world thing that I accidentally say in a session, and I'm gonna justify it, okay? Yes,
Honestly, I
Incredible.
totally disassociated as you started explaining what it was.
The spell shadow of a lightning spell can
Is a
can
spark
create
note.
offshoots.
Alright, I'm not sure how I feel about that. We're gonna hold off on the canonization of that one.
It's Schrodinger's canon right now.
Yeah. That's where most of the things that Sophia says in any given episode live.
I hope he did me justice and isn't too hurt over that misunderstanding.
I had to choose
Terrible
my words a lot
business.
more carefully, I'll tell you. Gotta thank you for the important lesson in Sigil.
Oh, I hope you're not still mad about it. After all, we have an opportunity here to set things right between the two of us.
But
If you're interested, of course.
She beckons a finger, and you see that a little, like, will-o'-the-wisp that's flying around comes by and hovers high up on a shelf about, like, 15 feet in the air, hovers close to and illuminates a sword in scabbard that's sitting on a little bracket up there.
If you're interested in putting things square between us, and then everyone will be happy, no hard feelings at all.
Well, forgiveness is certainly one of the tenets I was taught.
Good. So does that mean that you're to take the case?
I'd like to hear the case first. More details, less ominous dream messaging.
Very wise to get more information before entering into an agreement with a hag. You have grown clever. I must be careful.
The stoniest face any of you have ever seen on Bileyg.
It appears that I was burgled in the night, and the thief took 3 possessions most precious to me. I am eager to have them back. Upon their return, I will return what was sold by you to my custody, if that suits.
What were the objects that were purgled? Purloined.
Purgled?
Portmanteaued.
That's delightful.
Purgled and purloined.
Stolen? What was
I'm naming
stolen?
my
Part
next
of the
D&D
camp, Mark.
character Purgle.
Whoops.
You guys are about
Actually,
to
no,
meet
I said what I said.
Purgler. It's a cat folk feed.
Burgled?
Fantastic. You inquire. She goes. She lifts up 3 long crooked fingers. Her pinky is the longest for some reason, and she says,
Sick.
And she says, they were 3 payments for deals previously made with clients of mine. 3 of my sweetest, most cherished emotions that they gifted me in exchange for whatever they required. The 3 feelings, the 3 sensations were thus: a love so pure you long to melt into their bones. 2, the thirst of a revenge unsated. And 3, the heartbreak of a friend now a stranger. They were taken from my very shelves here in the night, and I would like them back.
May I ask, do these emotions have any physical manifestations, or was someone just really going through it when they walked by your house? Like, what are we looking for?
They were extracted from their previous owners by use of a sensory stone, a specially modified one by my own hand. Quite unique, quite unmistakable should you hold them. They are, as I said, most precious to me. They were precious to those they once belonged to, and whoever took them must have known their intent and how it would wound my heart so.
So we have a complete picture. What do you typically use these emotions for? Who else might be able to utilize them in some way that they would need to steal them in the first place.
I simply hold them and manifest them, called upon them, and I experience the feelings myself. In my old age, it can be... I feel a little hollow to recall my own experiences, thus I crave the sweetness of someone else's, fresh and unburdened by the weight of years. Surely you must understand yourself such a feeling.
I prefer to relive feelings through the roles that I play, rather than substitute them somewhere else. But I understand what you're getting at. Does anyone else have the ability to utilize these emotions in this way, or is it particular to you?
Anyone who should understand their nature.
Basically, she's saying anyone who knows how to activate one of these things could activate one of them.
Okay.
And I'll say to Sophia, because Ingrid would certainly know about this, and I think Oobtaglor would also as well. I'm not going to call for a check, but these, sensation stones? I forget what they're called. I'll have to look it up in my...
Sensory
You said
stones?
sensory
Sigil in the
stone.
Outlands. Sensory stones. They
Sensory,
are they are a thing that exists around Sigil. You can get them. You can rent them certain places. You can use them. You can put a memory into it, and then someone else who's holding it can experience a brief piece of that memory. Clearly, the hags are more powerful because it seems she has extracted emotion, but the notion is the same. You put a little piece of something you remember feeling and experiencing into the stone, and someone else can experience it. She's just saying anyone who knows what this is could use it to feel the same things that I was feeling.
And I think we've covered this. Is it one sensory stone with all three of them in it, or 3 different sensory stones?
3 separate stones.
Okay. Well, ma'am, I don't suppose any of the people you made these deals with in the first place might still be around holding some sort of grudge.
I've checked on them. I have a special relationship, as you now know, with those who have previously bargained with me. I do not believe any of them to be the suspects.
All right. Well, I can't imagine it's a particularly easy task to steal from the hut of a hag, especially not one as distinguished as yourself.
Indeed
do
not.
they,
This is why I am so bothered.
Do you have any rivals? Anyone who might want to detract from your work?
You do not know hags. Go find a list of the rest of them, and you shall have the names of my rivals.
Very well. I suppose we should get to investigating then. I can't think of anything else to ask unless the rest of the group's got questions. May we have a
Bileyg is
look
very
around?
ready to be out of this conversation. Yeah.
Please, please. Feel free to look, feel free to touch, but do not take.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Good luck!
Right, well, this is unnerving,
And
isn't
she
it?
stands up and retires to continue stirring whatever it is that might be thickly bubbling at the cauldron.
Blech.
Can I just say, this is a sick premise.
Right.
This is awesome.
We love it.
Thank you.
Character
out.
reactions aside, this rips.
Yeah, this is rad. Okay.
All right. So, you are at the crime scene, the bemused Bothy. How would you like to begin?
Because this is a kind of an unfamiliar environment to me, I would specifically like to make maybe an investigation check to determine what is the normal state of this hag's lair and what looks like it could be a sign that something was disturbed or checked in from the outside, distinguishing that to kind of get an idea of the crime scene, if that makes sense.
Fantastic. I would love for you to roll me an investigation check.
That's what Ingrid's going to be doing, whatever everyone else is up to.
Cool, yeah. If anyone else has anything they'd like to do, otherwise we'll just start with Ingrid.
Okay, 15 plus 8 is 23.
23. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it so quickly.
I'm not good at math, guys.
You're
Didn't
okay.
get better with low levels, it got worse, if anything.
23, fucking fantastic. Ingrid continues to show her
I do one thing.
use as a leader here. So, Ingrid looking around, here's the good news. There is so much dust everywhere that you it's very easy to tell what's been disturbed and what hasn't been disturbed. So as you begin to look around, you notice that there is a path of dust that basically leads between the most used furniture that you assume the hag has that Ilonka has caused, right? Like, she comes down the stairs and she comes to the fireplace and to her little chair at the table, and there are paths there. Like a rat, she's very precise, she always goes in the same path, and everywhere else is mostly still dusty. The shelves are much the same way. You can tell the things that she has not disturbed in a long time because they have just a thick ass layer of dust, and you can tell the things that she does interact with, which is not many things. You can tell them immediately. So as you begin to look around, you notice that first off, nothing else seems taken. There are no other holes in the dust other than the 3, which you do find on a shelf containing many other similar stones, each of them amorphous but kind of having like a human face kind of etched into it. Not in a scream, nothing too morbid, but there is the sense as you look at each of these, you're like, there's a little uncanny valley here to each of these. As you begin to peek through, you notice that her sensory stones are all often used, it seems like, because there is not a layer of dust coating each of these. There is dust around them, right? So you can see the 3 spaces where 3 were taken, but there is not any other disturbance among them. Other objects seem to be covered in plenty of dust, which leads you to suspect that this was not a ransack, because there'd be more dust would be disturbed if this had been like a real difficult job, not a difficult job. If this had been a real trying to figure out what it's worth job. In other words, this person came in, grabbed the 3 she claims to be most precious to her, and left. And everything else is still here. Untouched. There was no need to fumble through items. Whoever took these knew what they were doing, and they knew what they were looking for. And they knew it when they saw it.
Okay.
Do you think
can I take a look at the door? Like, I'm not going to really know what I'm looking for, but it seems to me
Absolutely.
like Joe Average could not just stroll in here off the street, do that, and leave. Like, I still don't understand how hag powers work, but I'm assuming she has things that would prevent that normally.
Yes.
So you investigate the door. Is there a check you would like to make? Is there a question you'd like to ask of Ilonka? What would you like to do?
I think, I really don't want to ask Ilonka more questions. I think if I could, finagle this into being an insight check, I might stand a little bit of a chance investigating the door, but otherwise I think it's more like, can somebody who's good at this, who perhaps knows how lockpicking works or something like that.
Someone could make a lockpicking check, not to pick the lock, but to see how hard it would be to open this door. That's true.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, you could also make a strength check or something if you want to see how hard it would be to open Bileyg, but different kinds of checks, different kinds of information, right? So what would you like to do?
Well, I guess, would I need to roll a check to see if it looks like the door has been forced? Because I feel like that would be the only context in which the strength check would make.
And that would be definitely investigating.
I can try. I've got a +0 in it, but it might just be a little bit of a waste of a roll.
Could I help? I have a +3 to investigation.
Yeah, fantastic. Oobtaglor will give you the help action, and Wally simultaneously, if Evrard wants to take a look at the locks, feel free.
Yes.
So help
also,
action
if
is
there's any magical
advantage?
investigations you want to do. Yes, advantage.
Okay. I mean, I can do detect magic, but I think that would just flashbang me in this thing.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
But not you would still be able
it's
to
everywhere.
get information, but there would probably be a lot to sift through.
Oh, god damn it. It's a 10.
All right. Beginning to look around, you recall on a 10 investigation, there's no signs of it having been broken necessarily. There are signs. You remember it opening to you as you walked up. You remember it opening to you as you first approached. And you suspect that there might be some control Ilanka has over the door, but you're not sure how far that extends. Is she just mage handing it open? It's kind of unclear. Wally, did you make a check?
Yes, with my thieves
Nothing up my sleeves.
tools. That's sleight of hand, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
Or
a.
it's whichever you can do dexterity plus proficiency if you are proficient in it, or you can do sleight of hand. So
I am both proficient in thieves' tools and sleight of hand.
fantastic. So then it's the same bonus either way.
Okay, perfect. That's a natural 17 plus 5.
22. Okay, so starting on the door and moving over, there are locks on them, but you can tell that they are magically enchanted and that they do not seem to have been forced open or lock picked. They don't see. Yeah, it doesn't seem like if the thief got in that they used lock picking to open any of these doors or windows. I mean, just looking at the windows, they're like soot sealed shut.
Yes.
Like there's so much grime. You're like you would tell if someone like breathed on this thing because it would have been disturbed. There's so much crap on it. So it seems like the windows and the doors are not the means by which this thief entered.
It's possible there's some sort of magical teleportation thing at work here. Maybe like I don't know,
A misty
teleportation circle, a misty step. These are all options.
Could I finagle an insight check on Auntie Ivanka to see if she's not telling us something that is important?
Yeah, I was about to say we need to make an insight check on this deal in general.
Yeah, go ahead and make
see
a-
whether
make
it's
an
not
insight check
whether
on
it's
her.
even possible. Maybe she took them and is hiding them from us.
We just end the episode like 30 minutes in.
It's murder of Roger Ackroyd again. God damn it!
They're
This
just-
guy is going in dice jail.
I will give you the help action for that. I have a
well, thank you.
plus 6 for insight. So
All right, well the die is still going in dice prison. Let me try the other one. 18.
there we go.
18. Okay. Let's roll a quick check for Auntie. Actually, we'll use the This is what passives are for. It's not a contested check. This is what the passives are for. With a passive deception of 17.
Oh my god.
Passive deception of 17. Bileyg, you observe her, how she goes about cooking whatever the hell this is. Occasionally, it sounds like it maybe shrieks a little bit, but it does seem to be mostly kind of like tar in there, so you're not sure what might be shrieking. As you observe her, like this is over like the course of like an hour, right? Like people picking about the room, doing different checks. Ingrid being extremely thorough. You're watching how she observes all of you and behaves. And you don't get the sense that she is hiding anything specifically from you about the case, because she occasionally looks over and, like, you know, is kind of interested to see how you're doing. There's generally a sense of unease and anxiousness from her, like if you guys are being successful. You get the sense that she's not setting you up. She genuinely wants us back. She's genuinely being truthful about what has happened, what she knows, and what she wants from it.
Okay.
But, Bileyg, you do get the sense that she's maybe hiding something from you specifically. Because occasionally, from the corner of your eye, you catch her glance at you and just smirk a little.
Oh, I hate this. Okay.
Hags.
Okay, fine.
All right. From the information you have, is there any more investigation in the room, or any questions you want to ask about the information that you might have that you've learned so far?
I guess the only thing that'd be left to ask is, who are your more recent clients? If we don't have any names besides looking through every other hag in the city. So, Evrard
Or like if
will-
anybody who came in seemed to be like, oh, what's up with these things? What are those? Like,
Excuse me,
Yeah, go
mademoiselle. But I was wondering, who are your most recent clients? We would like some sorts of names to potentially start a hunt in this great city.
Well, if you suspect that they may be involved. And she begins to relay a bunch of nonsense people. Like, she starts to give off names and things that they've given her. Some of them are emotions that she's taken. She holds up a big toe on a string from someone.
Okay.
She keeps that one around her neck. As she starts listing off these marks that she's had, and you hear what she's taken from them, make me an insight check.
Okay.
Evrard.
Okay, 9. That is 15.
15. As she's saying this, you start to hear these people, and you start to think back to, like, all of your previous... all the people you've conned previously. Mm-hmm. And then you think about what Ingrid has said about the specificity of this job. Mm-hmm. And you start to think... the amount of thieves in the Planescape that could do this, you couldn't know them all. But the amount of thieves in Sigil that could do this, you don't know all of them either, but that's a manageable number. Like, we're past, like, regular folk. As you hear her, like, talk about these regular folk, you're like, none of these guys could have pulled it off. I know people who could have pulled it off.
Okay.
Could I know someone who could have pulled it off?
Alright, yeah. Just regular names. I see. I will have to contact some associates on this one. Okay.
Oh. Ooh.
You know,
we shall see.
ironically, the only reason the motive that I can think for stealing these things is, well, it's not the route that I would take, but a performer looking to learn a new emotion for the stage. It certainly seems like an effective route to familiarize yourself with the thirst for revenge unsated and all. I'm not saying it is our suspect, but that's all I've got an inkling of.
That's a very creative
There
use of
is a
something like
place
this.
where, Ingrid, I will say, there is a place where people go to experience these. There is in the Civic Fest Hall, there are basically what you consider like listening rooms. You know, like you go to like a record store and they would like put you in a booth and they're like, here, like listen to music. Maybe that's an old. I don't know if people still do that anymore.
Like in the
do that
Mission
for some
Impossible
reason.
movies.
Anyway,
I think it's not Fallout.
Rogue Nation.
I think Rogue Nation. Tom Cruise goes into the listening booth, and that's
'cause
where he
it's
gets
Solomon Lane.
It's Solomon Lane. It's the fake out, and then it's the room fills. Yeah.
So there are places like that for people to go experience the sensory stones, and you think, like, okay, if there is, like, there are people there who are like feeling sensory. There's a whole deposit of them, and you can rent them, and you can go to these little booths and experience the emotions. And so that's obviously a huge list of people. You're probably not going to be able to just go there and like pick out a person who is hanging out there. But if you had a name, you might be able to find someone who might be connected to that. Perhaps I'm babbling here. To say more specifically, you think the only reason someone would steal these is if they want to experience it. You know a place where people who are obsessed with experiencing the emotions go to rent the best ones.
Well, seems like we have two avenues of inquiry, unless anyone's got a third or fourth option. Lapan, your familiarity with the local criminal underworld, and the place where these items could actually be utilized in some form. Any other thoughts?
No. Seems like we have a start. Split up.
Well, just one more thing I'd say. We've currently got a bit of a handshake deal going, but if we're doing this, Miss Puzzle Weaver, I would like you to swear that if we return the items that were stolen from you, the 3 sensory stones as previously established, you'll return my sword that I gave you in payment.
An excellent deal. The 3 sensory stones which I have named in exchange for your sword, which I have claimed ownership of since then. No tricks, I swear. Off to a bad
Insight check,
start
insight
is
check.
all.
Make an insight check.
Okay.
Wouldn't be rolling with difficulty if Red wasn't rolling inside checks.
I must. Okay,
This
that's
is
a
warranted.
15
this is pretty
total.
warranted.
15.
Her passive
gonna have to take
deception
her on a-
beats it.
You're gonna have to take her on her word for this one. It's hard to get a
As
read.
always. Okay. No.
Very good, sir. Now, if you're leaving, please make sure the door closes all the way. Thank you.
Are we ready to go?
Total. I'll be keeping an eye. And then she winks.
Goodbye.
Good. Bye.
Get out of this hut as quickly as
Evrard's
possible.
just gonna
All
look back.
She blushes.
Okay.
All right. You guys emerge back into the comparatively fresh air of the highboard. Who is going where?
I'd like to go to the proverbial record shop and see if they've had any clients who've been particularly perturbed lately, or if, I doubt we're going to walk in and encounter our suspect at large, but perhaps we can get a read on anyone who might have been making suspicious inquiries lately, kind of point us in a direction.
If you don't mind, I'd like to attend with you on that.
Certainly.
I'd otherwise help Evrard, but I feel like my presence would perhaps dissuade your contacts from being particularly open about the situation.
Oui. Smart thinking.
I have joined Lapin on treks to visit previous contacts before. Such a romp will be welcome.
It's always a pleasure with you, Monsieur Oob.
Lovely. So it sounds like we're splitting up and searching for clues then.
That we are.
All right. You guys split up. Let's follow our criminal contacts first. Evrard, where are you off to? What contact will you speak with?
We will go to Copernicus, my locksmith.
All right.
friend.
Excellent.
Anybody knows
I
how to
was gonna
break
say,
in and out
if you
of
want-
a Hags lair, he would know.
I would also say that we know Rel, who was also
Yes.
a previously experienced thief, but I would also say that her knowledge might be a bit old since she has left that life behind. So now let's go to Copper.
All right. You make your way back to visit the door snoopers. As you enter, you see Copper notices you and immediately does basically the same thing as last time, where he puts like a outside, like the doctor is out thing on his desk, and like makes a hurried excuse about going off on a job he forgot, and hurries out with you in the door. He puts on like kind of a jacket, hands deep into it, and without looking at you says, "All right, if we're gonna keep meeting at my place of work, we're gonna need some sort of signal so that I know you're coming. We can meet like a third location, something a little less conspicuous. You know what I mean? All right, come on, let's go get food." Brings you to the many many beautiful smells of the market ward, and you start going around through booths. He starts buying food from people and like chatting and like sharing things with you, and you recognize this as like thief behavior. He's trying to make it seem like you guys are casual.
Right.
He's like the purpose here is introducing you to different stuff. He's like, "Oh, you got to try this." He gets you some like juvenile fried kraken. And
I just
you guys
pass them
start
on
munching
to
away.
Mr. Oob. I pick up one singular carrot, I put it in my mouth, and continue conversing with him. Anything that he gives me, I just pass it on to Mr. Oob.
Sure, Oobtaglor will eat it.
All right, so what's the deal here?
We are currently investigating a burglary over at an ag. What's her name again, Mr. Oob?
Ilanka Puzzle Weaver, I believe.
Yes, something like that.
I definitely call
Don't know her,
it
but you're a
at
braver
these
man than
points.
I if you're dealing with hags.
Oh, I'm not dealing with ags. This ag is dealing with an associate of mine, and I'm merely helping an associate. So,
But
I have bad
that-
news about the transitive property of association, my friend.
I'm well aware, my friend. I'm well aware.
But on that note, would you happen to then know some, let's say, braver thieves who would be game to associating themselves with a hag? For better or for worse, I should
thieves.
say.
Someone who would steal from a hag. Let's see, who do I know who's not terribly attached to their own sanity? That's legit in that 20.
Oh my god.
Nice, let's go.
Episode over, everybody. Copper's gonna bag him right now.
It's our shortest one yet.
He goes, Wait a second. Hag. She was stolen from. Was this like memories stolen? Like something precious from a person that couldn't really be replaced kind of deal?
Oui.
Emotions, but yes.
Sensory stones, yeah.
Sensory stones, yep. That fits the bill. All right. 2 things. First off, you didn't hear it from me. Second off, puts his hand out.
I high five it. No, I'm kidding. I'll give him like
Evrard
a gold.
puts 5 gold, and thank you for lunch.
I love it when you pay me back. There's always interest. Pockets it, pulls you into an alley. He goes, all right. I know the thief you're looking for. Very specific kind of job. No one's exactly sure what kind of method she uses. She usually works alone, but she's famous as under the employ of the Unseelie Court. She's a satyr by the name of Marielle.
Marielle, okay.
She frequents a couple different locations when she's not on job for the higher-up of the more sinister Fae. One, you can usually find her at the brothel for slaking intellectual lusts.
Okay.
She enjoys having a good conversation, it would seem.
Uh-huh.
The other is that she is a high proprietor, very wealthy donor to the arts. You can usually find her at the Civic Fest Hall.
Seems like things are slowly coming together. Okay.
What was the first place again?
Brothel.
It's called the Brothel for Slaking Intellectual Lusts. It's a place where people pay to go have extremely stimulating conversation.
People in this city can't just be normal horny, can they?
No, of course not. He's going. Evrard will turn to Copernicus and says, once again, mon ami, you've been a lot of help. I'll try to come announced next time.
Not to worry about that. Listen, he catches you and then he gives a look at Oobtaglor like, this one's between us now.
Oobtaglor nods their head, but there's no face, so it's just...
He pulls you in a little closer, Evrard. He goes, no one's any friends of the Greeks, right? So no one's gonna look twice if you go about pissing her off, dealing with some case that she's done. Marielle, I'm not saying she's got a lot of friends, but she's got some of them. And, moreover, if you continue down this path, if you start turning in some of our own, undoing their work, or worse, making them pay for what they've done, people are going to be unhappy. People who know you. People who are looking for you. People who have no compunction about how nice they have to be when they come calling. They don't bring flowers and a nice little housewarming gift. They bring steel. You get it?
I understand.
If your name's tied to this, and it gets out, if anything happens to her, let's just say that 5 gold is not gonna grease any of their palms.
I will cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah, you always do.
Once
All
again, appreciate you looking out for.
Yeah, well, I consider it professional courtesy. We've been on the job together. It's my job to make sure that your other jobs go smoothly, and I'd expect the same if I ever required it. I don't, because I'm extremely good at what I do, but...
Bien sûr. Well, it's time for me and Mr. Oob to go join our friends. They seem to be heading to the festival, so we're gonna go catch up with them.
Oh, good luck. Don't let her give you the laugh.
What's that supposed to mean, Austin?
Don't let her get away with it.
Oh, okay.
Giving the law the laugh is like escaping scot-free. So
okay.
He's saying don't let her fall through your fingers.
Gotcha.
Ironic given the existence of the spell,
Excellent.
Tasha's hideous laughter.
Yes.
All right. We're going to pick up at the Civic Fest Hall then. The Civic Fest Hall can be heard before you see it. A combination of splashing fountains, uproarious laughter, soothing music, and the most rare and coveted sound of all, applause. The grand entrance is lined with reflecting pools, poets deep in thought lounging on their walls, and myriad banners flapping in the wind, magically shifting from one announcement of performance to another. You pass through the doors and see the entrance to the gardens, the galleries, and the two most famous theaters in all of the Planescape, both housed here, LOF Theater and Wren Hall. But what you are looking for is somewhere else specific. Following a grand spiraling walkway lined with vividly shifting artworks created in the chaos of Limbo, you arrive below the fest hall, in the sensoriums. A series of small circular chambers filled with luxurious couches and pillows. People come here from all over the city to rent sensory stones and experience the emotions of others. As you approach, you see that there is a desk where there is an attendant, a troll, standing here. And as sees you approach, how can I help you?
Hello, dear.
Looking to rent a room?
Still going. Hello, dear. Ingrid Starling. I have a question about your catalogue. I was wondering if you had a list of the available emotions to browse.
Oh, certainly. Pulls up a little scroll. It looks very thin, but it's about a foot long. Hands it over to you, and as you start to unroll it, you discover that it is magically enchanted, and it just keeps unrolling.
Very good. I would like to scan the list
Are you looking for something? Yeah.
the three emotions that the hag had stolen. The love so pure you long to melt into their bones, thirst of a revenge unsated, and heartache of a friend who's now a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You begin looking through. Go ahead and roll an investigation. You hear the troll say, is there anything specific you're looking for? If you're new, there's quite the selection. I could possibly recommend some. And it will be a chamber for the two of you, or individually?
That's not gonna be necessary. I suppose a perhaps more pertinent question is, have you received any new deposits of new and exciting sensory stones in the last day or so? We may or may not be investigating a person who provided those sensory stones, perhaps somewhat non-purposefully, and they're a little bit disappointed.
A fresh memory, I see, yes. Let's see, just come in, we have the memory of someone who stepped on a nail which pierced through the bottom and top of their boot.
Ew.
We have
Boy, howdy.
A gentleman on the wedding day. And if you're looking for something a bit more exciting, there is from later on. These are all recent additions. I can set you up with any of those. The rooms run 200 gold for the hour, an additional 100 for each subsequent hour.
I rolled a 15 on my investigation check.
15, you don't see any of those, and this is very neatly organized, so you don't think that you would miss any.
And judging by all these new additions, don't seem like they're what we're looking for.
Ingrid will kind
And
of...
the
Correct.
window of
Doesn't
last day, so
It doesn't seem like they are here.
Yes.
yeah.
Or at least not officially listed here on this registry.
You know, I heard from a friend of mine about a particular set of emotions that they found absolutely thrilling. I was wondering if anyone else had come in asking about them recently. A love so pure, you long to melt to their bones, the thirst of a revenge unsated, and the heartache of a friend now a stranger. Surely we can't be the only ones asking about them if it really is as exciting as my compatriot did say.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
I would love to. It's a 16.
I can give the help on that because I'm proficient if you want.
Sure.
What would you say to aid in the persuasion?
You know what? I have no idea. So,
16 it is.
yeah.
16 it is. You see, the troll says, I'm not sure that I've heard anyone asking for those specifically, but they are very unique, very strange. Could be that I might know someone who's interested in them if something were to jog my memory.
I'd like to make an insight check on this guy. I kind of know. Sophia, think I know what he's getting at, but I want to see if they actually know anything.
I'd say even Bileyg
just...
knows what he's getting at.
Yeah, he's looking for a garnish, aka a bribe.
You deal in memories here. Do you have any empty stones you've been looking to fill? I've lived a very storied life. I'm sure I could find something that'd be interesting to add to the collection, if that would help.
You see, the troll says... This troll's name is Frillip, by the way. It's Philip.
Frillip?
Okay.
Frillip. I just had to share that.
Amazing.
You see Frillip, Frillip considers and says, perhaps you're looking to put something on the reserved list that might be a bit more interesting for some of our regular attendees. That one of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Sort of premier experiences that our most trusted members get to experience. If you have something like that you could sell to us, then perhaps that would help grease the wheels, as it were. As it were, not a thing a troll would say. Perhaps that would help grease the wheels. Well, I'll allow you to make something up here if you can come up with something suitably spectacular that Ingrid has been a part of.
Yes.
I was watching a production of The Lion King 1.5.
You know what? Ingrid, make me an insight check.
Gladly.
My Black Box Theater one-woman show about the hypothetical origins of the Lady of Pain was a smashing success, but it was before its time.
It's a 17.
17? Okay, you look over and you see that on this desk here, there is a script. There is a script, and circled are the one character's lines. This troll is reading over a script here.
Excellent.
And as you think about it, they work in the basement. So they work at the Civic Fest Hall, but they are practicing lines, but clearly not one of the premier performers, otherwise they wouldn't be working an admin job in the basement. Perhaps there is some performative memory you could provide to someone who seeks such glory as you once held.
I've played all sorts of stages in my career, but few can compete with the feeling of the curtains opening on my first starring role as a lead actress. There's no greater sensation than that of a performer finally achieving the heights to which they know they can climb and having to face the audience in the first time for that capacity. It's a sensation I could be willing to donate if needed.
I think perhaps that would go well in our most curated, only for employees, perhaps.
Yes. He goes and produces a sensory stone, and all you must do is conjure the memory in your mind and use an action to imbue the stone with this memory. Now, most normal sensory stones do not take the memory from you, so you will still have it.
Cool.
Auntie Alanka's are fucked up and bad.
That's why I'm making this offer to this troll and not the hag.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
And what was this spectacular performance that you were a part of? What was the name of this show that you were in? Just for posterity?
Yes, of course. It's on the tip
You
of my
already
tongue.
did Spark Notes,
I
so
already
you have
did
to do
Spark
something
Notes, so I have to do
serious this
something
time.
better. I have to do something
Yep.
for real. I was in a fabulous production. I don't know how much you know about the various warring factions in the Hells, but for a while there was one, what was it? Like Mechzariel. I was Lady Mechzariel in a production.
By Snakespeare?
by Shakespeare. You know, the young
Shakespeare, the
playwright.
romantic playwright?
Shakespeare, yeah.
Yeah.
It's such
Shakespeare,
a
the
meaty
famous
role.
playwright of Romeo and Juliet, where
I mean, when you have to wash the hands of the lower devils in the sink, like it's a moment. Yeah, I mean, can't compare, really.
All right. You withdraw the memory stone, the sensory stone, present it to him, and he pockets it covetously, and then goes to a log of people who have been registered, signed in and out, and he says, "Now, these specific memories you look for, we don't carry anything of the sort, but I do know that there are purveyors of such things if you're looking to obtain them. And one just so happens to be here right now." And he shows you a room number with a signed out for 9 hours, along with the signature, the name Marielle.
Thank you, dear. I believe we've got questions to ask, and you've got memories to attend to.
All right. So, it's signed out for 9 hours. Would you like to wait for your compatriots to arrive and confront her at once, or are you going to go in now, Bileyg and Ingrid?
Ingrid doesn't have any inclination that Marielle is in any way connected to the inquiries that
That's
Oobtaglor and Lepat are making. So my instinct is to say there's no reason that she wouldn't just, her and Bileyg wouldn't just go talk to them now.
yeah, same boat, I think.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
You travel down the dark hallways until you come to a room that is marked with the number you saw. There is no windows or anything. These are like almost sensory deprivation rooms. As you turn the handle and crack open the door, you see that it is lit with various dancing lights of slowly changing muted colors, like very, pale pink, very muted blue, dancing around the room. There is a conversation pit type deal in the center of the floor. There's no raised furniture. It's all indented in the floor. There's a ring of couch with pillows and stuff like that. And lounging against the couch, you can see the back of a woman's head with little satyr horns popping up, who just absentmindedly waves a hand and says, "Occupied."
Are you Marielle?
I believe I've been paid up for 9 hours. I should still have at least 6 left. If I am being ousted from this room, I would like to know why.
You misunderstand. I have no intention of ousting you. Just a moment of your time, if you could. My name is Ingrid Starling, and this is my associate, Bileyg. We're on the hunt for some particularly difficult to acquire sensations, and we were told that you're the person to talk to in that regard.
She begins to wave you on, and then you say that, and she stops and kind of sits up. She still hasn't turned to face you, and she says, "Now, wherever do you hear something like this?"
Oh, chitter-chatter in these places. You know how it goes. You start asking for things that are hard to find, and you sort of find your way to the person who can find them for you.
Interesting. I must say, I think perhaps you are given wrong information. I am a proprietor of this place. I am a frequenter, but I would not know any illicit business of which you are insinuating, my friend. What did you say your names were? Ingrid, Starling, and Bileyg, correct?
That's right, ma'am.
Well, Ingrid, Starling, and Bileyg, I think that perhaps you should be more careful before you start throwing around such wild accusations.
No accusation, simply an inquiry. We're as interested in acquiring these sensations as anyone.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Make a persuasion check.
Natural 18 plus 6
okay.
for 24.
We're cooking.
Oh, yeah.
She turns to you now, and you see her face. Honestly, for all of the cloak and dagger of this moment, for all of the drama, she seems like a pretty ordinary person. She's dressed in nicely. Clearly, she must have gold because she's affording this room for so long, but she's not wearing anything extravagant, no huge jewelry or anything. Her hair is down but simple. Her horns neatly polished, but no adornment, as you see in like certain tieflings and satyrs and stuff like that. They'll get like really bedazzled out. Nothing there. She shifts and places her hooves up on the couch, and she says, "Step in, close the door, please. We will discuss what you are interested in."
I will oblige.
Please come sit.
Kind of like Bileyg, like, you can jump in anytime you want, but I'm just going to keep running with this conversation until it meets bust.
There's only so much lying I can do without violating my oaths, so...
I'll take a seat.
Yeah,
Okay.
I might prefer to stand a little close to the door, but if it looks like that'll make it too uncomfortable, I'll get closer too.
First, we must address where you have heard these things. It is important for a person to know where their accreditations are coming from. Who has told you that I am capable of serving you in this way?
In exchange for a rather juicy memory that I've now donated to their, I have to assume, private collection, the clerk outside gave us the tip that you are the person to talk to.
Ah, very good, very good. Now, I must also say that if you are being untruthful, if there are ulterior motives here that you are withholding from me, then the payment that you give me will be far more than you bargain for. Do you know who I normally work for?
I'm afraid I'm not acquainted.
Then I fear that perhaps you are walking into the belly of the beast without proper preparation.
Story of my life.
Is
She looks at you and she says, lawman. Is it okay if I call you lawman? It seems that it suits you.
To be honest, madam, I take it as a compliment. Nobody's called me that in a long time.
I do not take it as a compliment myself. So, you come, you say that you have bribed someone in order to find out what it is that I do in my free time when I am not partaking of these services here. What can I do for you?
we're on the hunt for 3 rather specific sensations, and we would be interested in knowing their location or how we could procure them. I have no intent of getting you or anyone in any sort of trouble. It's simply that we're in search of these things, and we need to know how to find them, and you are the next step in that.
They are 3 very specific ones. No, you are hired to find them, you come to me. Perhaps they are ones that have gone missing recently, and you are curious trying to find them again. I see your mannerisms. You are snoopers. You try to get to the bottom of things. Yes?
The polite term is detective, ma'am, but snooper's certainly accurate.
The grand term is detective, sir.
Personally, all I'm interested in fulfilling the specifics of our job, as you've put it, is to find these sensations. Anyone we encounter along the way is just an encounter along the way. They're not what we're hunting for. So if you know anything that might aid us, it would certainly be appreciated. But if you know nothing, then that's the end of our conversation.
Perhaps I know something, perhaps I know nothing. It depends on what else I am to learn about you. Before we do that, I always speak at length before I go into any business with anyone. Perhaps we could speak at length. I'm gonna say at this point that Evrard and Oobtaglor, you guys have arrived, and you knew where they were going, so you come in to check and see if they have any leads. And it is trivially easy for Frillup to point you when you're like, there was an elf and a halfling in here.
Yeah.
He's,
Have you seen
he's
an
able to
old
point you
woman
where
and
they're
a
going.
short trench coat wearing man? He's a little disheveled, and she's way too fancy for where we are.
Looks like he just woke up. You know how it
This
is.
is a fancy place. You got Ingrid's barely keeping
I
up
didn't
with
realize I'd have
appearances
to
here.
make the dress code today.
In any case, this is a swanky place. It costs a small fortune to rent it for an hour.
200 gold is insane.
That is nuts.
In any case, you guys are able to find your way to the room, and do I assume that you guys enter?
I would maybe knock.
It would be polite to do so. Oui. I'm afraid, though, if they are
You,
already talking
as she
to
says,
who,
you should. Oh, go on.
if they are talking to who I think they are talking to in there, just be prepared for anything, okay?
Perhaps then we should wait outside. And if we hear the sounds of some sort of scuffle, then we sort of interpose ourselves.
Question of how soundproof the room is comes up.
This is also true. I
Ooh,
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. that
Pocket
just said
even
that.
smaller Bileyg, giving you a little helpful detective tips.
Monsieur Oob, how small can you get? As I look at around the door, the edges of the door.
Oh,
yeah.
there's space
Are-
for a slime to get in.
Oh, definitely
You-
not soundproof.
I
little
like
bit
the way
too.
you speak, Rabbit. I will go ahead and take off my armor. I will take off my pack, and I will just kind of slowly try and sneak my way in.
I like your fancy words,
You
Magic
begin
Rabbit.
to pour in, and you pick up, coming into the room as she says, like, perhaps we should discuss at length. I always like to have a long conversation with my potential clients before we go into business together. The personal side is so important.
I've been known to be chatty myself. What would you like to talk about?
Ingrid Starling. I believe I know that name. I've been a proprietor of the arts not nearly as long as you have been a practicer of them, but I am very familiar with your fame.
Everyone's being so mean to
She's
this old
young,
lady
right?
today.
Comparatively. She says, but then you gave it up. I have not heard any word of your performances in some time. What is it that got you out of the business?
Well, I always have pursued whatever has been the most interesting thing to me. And for a long time, that was exploring different roles of the arts, not dissimilar from how I imagine you feel about exploring different sensations here in this locale. But I realized fairly recently that that no longer held the same interest to me that it always had. And when an opportunity came for me to turn to the detective pursuit that I've been on now, I took it. I don't like to second guess myself, and well, I haven't regretted it since. It's proven thrilling, intriguing, all the bits of excitement that I used to get from the theatre, but now it's my real life.
Ah, so you are a soul chaser. You leave behind what begins to bore you, and you approach what is new and exciting. Very curious, very interesting. I can relate to this. Of course, this is how I feel too. I chase many a high. I enjoy it. Life should be spent living to its highest. That is my belief. Fair enough. And it suits you suitably. It does not provide any boring. There are no regrets from leaving behind your previous occupations.
I may be ready to sing a song or read some lines at the drop of a hat, but I don't miss the rest of the theatrical arts, if that's what you're asking. I'm quite satisfied with my current pursuit. If it starts to bore me, who knows? Give it 200 years and then we'll see how I feel about it.
Austin,
I am. Yes.
does it look like Mariel has the stones on her, or like she has
that's a
a
good question.
bag near her.
There's a whole bunch of stones all over the table right now.
Ah,
Do they all look like the ones that are at this place? Do they look like the ones from the Hags hut that had those like distinctive features?
They do not. They look way more typical. I think there actually is a picture of one. Let's see if I can get it. But they look normal and typical.
I'm picturing the art from the Sending Stone image in like 5e where it's got the little face
It's-
in it.
Yeah, it's not dissimilar. You can see. Yeah. New
and
bookshelf
just to
with
get an
this
idea
game
of
books out.
the geometry and the geography, there's the door, and then there's like, and then there's Ingrid and
It's a
Bileyg.
circular room.
Yep.
It's like a
Okay.
15, like a 20 foot across maybe, circular room, and then in the middle of it, there's like a little walkway around the outside, a couple feet for people to walk, and then it's just an indented couch area where you can lounge.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you can be
where is
comfortable.
Mariel seated?
She's
like
seated with her
opposite the
back
door.
to the door.
Oh, back to the door. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to pool myself around Ingrid and Bileyg's feet just to let them know that I'm and Lapan are here.
I think Bileyg was standing closer to the door, unless that looked like it was going to make Mariel not talk. But Ingrid is seated closer to her? Question mark?
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
I pulled
Then
up a
Bileyg.
pillow or something, grabbed a seat on the couch, as it were. Mm-hmm. Armchair, that sort of deal.
I gotta get the pipes checked in this place.
I'll pull myself.
Make a
myself
stealth
around
check for
Bileyg's
me as
feet.
well, Oob.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Stealth?
Yes.
What is that? +2? Easy, 18.
Nice.
Okay.
That's terrible.
And Ingrid, how? You know what? You don't even have to say. I'm gonna roll an insight check, and then you tell me whether that's all of it or if there's anything more, depending on what this insight check is, and I'll let you set the DC.
Cool.
Sophia, what you think she should have to roll. So I'm gonna roll an insight check for her right now. She's going to roll with a
Hey,
plus
Sophia, if you just
5.
make it a really high number, we win.
It's only a 14.
Everything Ingrid said has been truthful so far. Like, she's not lying about her feelings in the theater. She doesn't really mind talking about that kind of stuff. So I don't think that is a particular... Like, I think she gets all of that truthfulness. On a 14, she might start to get a little bit of... Ingrid is aware of what this situation is in terms of, like, danger and risk. Like, she's not just walking in blindly, and she's just trying to mask a little bit of... she's trying to make sure the situation stays
Gotcha.
easy, and you kind of get a little bit of that, like, maybe putting on a little bit more of an easygoing charm than would necessarily have to be present.
Gotcha. She nods and she says, "So we are understanding each other then. And so I must turn to your friend and associate, Bileyg it was, yes?
Yeah. Lovely to meet you, ma'am.
Bileyg, I'm curious. What brings you to this place? You are a lawman. This must be an upsetting place. A difficult place, Sigil. It is not a place where things are normally so black and white as where you come from, I'm sure. So what brings you here? And why do you decide to get involved in such a nasty business?
Oh, well, you know, like you said, Sigil's nowhere near as black and white in this, the world I come from, and I've been here long enough to understand that the way I feel about things and the way things really are, they're not always the same thing. And some things are a little bit more important than me feeling righteous all the time, you know?
Do not let your betters hear you saying that.
Oh, my betters are a long way from here, ma'am.
I'm well aware. It is why I am here as well. Much safer. Be that as it were, if you had the chance to go back right now, would you? Would you leave? Is there still work to be done here? Or would it be much simpler back home?
Oh, well, it would certainly be much simpler back home, ma'am, I'll tell you that, but, somehow I feel like that means, it needs me a little bit less. You know, this town, it doesn't work the way I'm used to, but, I've been able to find my way, I think, and, there's folk around here that can use a lawman once in a while for troubles, injustices. It's not always about passing judgment. Sometimes it's about being a helping hand for those who need one and can't find one otherwise.
I understand. Very well. I have your measure. I think I see you plainly. What is it you are looking for? Tell me now, in no uncertain terms, and I will tell you if I can be any.
3 sensation stones were stolen from a hag last night. She's requested their return.
Yes, I did do that. Yes. As for
Switch
their
stuff away.
return, I am no longer in possession of them. I have already bequeathed them to the person who hired me in the first place.
May we know who hired you so that we may ask them for the stones? As my associate mentioned, we're only really interested in returning the stones to the hag. Personally, I didn't get along with her well, and I would be very happy to just not mention your name at all.
My name being kept out of mouths is a prerequisite, yes. What do I ask for in return for such information which you clearly desire? What do you offer someone who seeks thrill at every corner? What should a known thief to you? What would people who seek to put people like myself out of business ask for from 2 people such as yourselves?
My immediate thought is to offer, like, a sensation or memory again, but if anyone has any alternate.
Yeah. No, that was going to be my move, too. You know, she wants heights she can't reach.
Perhaps this it is not very common, but it does happen on occasion that I am being sought after for my crimes, alleged as they are. Perhaps one time in the future I could call upon you to investigate and find a culprit who was capable of doing such a thing who's not myself. What do you say? Sometime in the future you help put some other nasty thief who was well deserving of it. See that they get punished for a crime that they maybe were not a part of, but are deserving of nonetheless.
Well, ma'am, that's a very interesting judgment you're making right now. I'm not sure I'd be willing to bind myself to that sort of thing. I've had bad experience making deals in Sigil in the past.
Well, if that is the case, that is no big deal for me. I'm sure that you are very capable detectives. You are very capable of figuring this case out. It was you who used the word detectives, I believe.
Indeed.
Oh, ma'am, that's certainly true.
Oobtaglor, obviously you're hearing all of this. I'd say for drama that you can also hear this from outside.
I mean, if there's
he's
an
got
inch-wide crack under the
giant
door...
ear to the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Passive 18 perception.
Yeah, I'll say you can hear this going down too. So, she's requested that, you guys help her get away with something in the future in exchange for solving this case and not mentioning her name to anyone involved.
Does Oobtaglor have message?
No.
Message requires you to whisper it. Well, ma'am, I'm afraid I can't oblige that specific request, but I will say, if I didn't misconstrue, you were seeking unique sensations of the sort that you perhaps can't get around here so normally?
I take only the very best. Is there something most outrageous which you have experienced?
Oh, I don't know about outrage.
I'd be polite here, but you seem a simple, kind fellow.
Oh,
I do
well,
not
that's very
mean to
sweet.
insult, but is there really anything you think you could offer myself? I have seen it all. I have stolen it all for the most powerful fae.
Oh, that's very impressive, ma'am. You're certainly skilled. I suppose, all I could offer somebody like you, as you're correctly construed, I grew up in a rather comfortable place. And, perhaps a sensation of contentment is something that might, appeal to one as hungry as you.
Contentment, no. But perhaps there is something better. You have ascended how high in Mount Celestia? Quite some
Trained-
way if you are as skilled as you seem to be.
Keep it together.
I've trained in Sokwet-Hezi, the City of Swords.
So let's see, that is layer
5.
2, 3, 5, yes. It is said that the higher you climb, the more difficult it becomes to have the epiphanies you require in order to better yourself as a person and climb even higher. Perhaps you could give me the sensation of this epiphany. Perhaps you could give me the key to layer 5 of Mount Celestia.
Well, ma'am, I'd be genuinely very curious to see if that would work.
So would I.
Certainly, ma'am.
Alright. She fetches a stone for you.
It's not one of the fucked up
Merely-
ones that steals my memories, right?
Nope, it's no
Okay.
one. Simply conjures a memory, and you will be able to imbue it into this stone for me.
Happy to help, madam.
Alright.
So-
You conjure up the memory of climbing the mountain and the personal epiphany that you had to undergo in order to ascend.
Yeah.
The falsehood you had to shake off. Do you think that there is it easy to put into words, or is it more of a sensation that can't be described?
Oh, part of it's a very describable sensation. The memory of Bileyg ascending from level 4 to 5 is inextricable from the complex cocktail of emotions he was experiencing immediately beforehand. Because, of course, he thinks of his wife, who is in level 4, and because of her job, cannot leave. And he thinks of his daughter, who was a very, very precocious child, who ascended to level 5, where he couldn't follow for months. And he just thinks of that stress and that fear and that worry about her all on her own, and she's talented and quick in a way he's never been quick. And he thinks he has to leave the layer behind. It was so hard for him to ascend from level 3 to level 4 in the first place. And the life he's built here, it's been beautiful, it's been comfortable. And now it can't be that anymore. And he can't be what he was anymore. Because he didn't become a paladin until he reached Sokwet-Hezi, the City of Swords. He was just some guy. And it's that moment when he decides, comfort isn't enough. I have to keep climbing, and I have to be better, so that I can continue to be strong, even as the people who need me become stronger.
The realization that discomfort is the only path forward to growth. You place all of this complex cocktail of emotion into the stone and hand it to Marielle. Thank you. Now I believe a deal is a deal. In exchange for your silence on who you're spoken to, the person you are looking for, who hired me in the first place, can be found at a restaurant in the market world called The Spice of Life. The person you are looking for is an hag by the name of Gourmand Goethe. She runs the establishment. I believe that she had interest in using these emotions as a garnish, so to speak, on her meals. They are known for such a thing there.
The chefs in this city really do try the most avant-garde things.
As they really do. Now, if you excuse me, I do believe that my appetite for this has been spoiled a bit, and I have... She picks up the sentry stone you just gave her, Bileyg, pockets it, and says, and I have new assets which I have to see what they might be worth. Good day to the two of you. She stands up, cloven feet, opens the door.
Okay, if Oobtaglor sees her
yeah.
moving, then Oobtaglor's gonna slurp out of there and say to the pet, "We gotta go."
Scooby-Doo mouth harp noises.
How fast
You
can you
Jump
get
into the
stealth check
room
to see if you guys
across
can get
from
out of
it.
the way
If it's like
fast enough.
if it's like
Okay.
a hall of booths, because you guys could totally just duck into a
Thinking
different.
it's
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah.
The stealth check is to see if you can get into the booth and close the door without being seen fast enough. Like, it's kind of part initiative, but it's
Okay.
a dexterity check, right? So it's kind of combined in there. Go ahead, each of you make me a stealth check. You gotta.
Somebody's got to roll a d6 to see if anyone's already in there, right?
Oh yeah, it's got to be occupied.
Oh, okay. 14.
22.
Lapin? 22. Okay. Lapin, you... what? Let's... is this... I usually do individual. I'm going to say that... So, DC was 15, but between the two of you, the average is higher. Usually I don't do group checks, but I think that the mental gymnastics of how she would have seen only Oobtaglor and not Evrard justify a group check in this instance. So, you duck into a room as she stalks past. You breathe a sigh of relief, having narrowly evaded her, and turn to see that there is a Loxodon, an elephant man, sitting in the room, and he's just bawling his eyes out, just holding Sentry Stone.
Oh
Oh
non, monsieur.
shit, sorry.
Je suis désolé. Lapin's gonna take out 10 gold, put it on the floor and go,
Nah, poor bastard just experiencing the end of the Iron Giant in concentrated bursts. That's the...
Yeah, Oobtaglor's gonna go and comfort the guy. Like, I know.
he chose to experience this.
This guy's like, wow, this Sentry Stone's built different.
Yeah. It comes
All
with
right.
comfort, yeah.
I could have sworn there was
You
a
guys-
slime in here.
You guys leave the room and run into the other half of your party, as you expected.
Oh.
That was well handled, Bileyg.
Whoa, well, that's very kind of you.
Mark off 15 gold for the day. Okay.
Ooh.
Getting to be an expensive mission.
Ugh. I tell you, I'm not eager to handle another hag.
No, but
Well, is Mariel gone?
Yeah, she's long gone.
Out of earsight.
Well, perhaps we don't have to handle the hag. I'm gonna go and put on the hat of disguise self, and I turn into Mariel.
Oh.
Monsieur
Perhaps
Oob, be very
Mariel.
careful here.
How do you mean?
You're going to take on the guys of the thief who just did a job for the ag.
This is correct.
A thief's reputation is probably the only thing they have in this city. It's not that I do not trust you to handle the situation. Is that if this goes horribly wrong, we will have more problems than we started today with.
It will only go horribly wrong for us if it is a manner in which it can be tracked back to us.
That is correct.
To our knowledge,
You're only in trouble if you get caught.
Mariel does not know that you are in possession of someone who can shape their self in such a way.
But
No.
she does know that she's only talked to two other person who've known about this job, and that is these two.
And they can claim innocence, for nothing that they have said has broken their deal. Mariel's name has been kept out of their mouths.
Are we? Again, I trust you. I'm merely airing caution.
I would hesitate to assume that this would be enough to fool the hag. We don't entirely understand what she might be capable of. A degree of mental communication seems like the baseline.
I would voice a concern only because, well, I'm very impressed by your transformative powers. The hag hired the thief to get the stones, presumably. Why does the thief need them back?
That is a story we must generate together.
And I guess more critically, why would the hag give them back?
That depends on the story we generate together.
I think perhaps a subtle approach is warranted, but perhaps more directly subtle of the sneaking about variety.
This is all to avoid a confrontation with the hag. Yes, because I don't know about you, but I do not want to fight a hag.
I think fighting an ag ends a lot better than talking and perhaps coming to another deal with another hag. So a dead hag is a good hag in my opinion, but however you all choose to deal with this, I'm okay with.
Perhaps there's a different disguise that could prove useful. Buyer for the stones willing to pay quite some sum to get them to be revealed. I just don't personally see how the thief helps us avoid confrontation any more than our normal guises do.
Well, it directs the attention back to the thief, which I don't think is someone whom we really care much about.
I don't think that's necessary, to be quite frank. She was
I wonder
quite upfront with us.
what happens when you put two hags in the same room.
I was
That idea. That idea I like.
I'm more on board with that one, certainly. As long as I'm not the second hag in question.
Madam
someone
Ingrid,
calling you a hag? Is
you
this
will
something
never
we need
be.
to talk about?
You're no hag in my eyes.
Thank you, Lepan.
Is there someone we need to talk to about this? Have people been calling you hags?
You know, it's mostly just like, when you've been in the theatre as long as I have, there's a lot of younger up-and-coming starlets who are quick to try and insult, but I never really let it bother me.
This isn't a personal reflection, is it? Ingrid, you are beautiful. You don't need to you don't need to demean yourself in such a manner.
Me. Oobtaglor. Oopsie baby.
My darling star.
Wow. Whoa. Something's happening today.
I don't think I liked that.
Oob accidentally has like a sensory stone embedded in their leg and is just like
there's too much charisma going around right now.
I gotta get out of this Riz room.
No, it's not a personal thing. It's just, when you get to be my age, there's the very few insults that get thrown around, and hag is one of them. So I've heard it on occasion, but it really doesn't sit deep with me. I was merely cracking wise, as it were. The plan of putting Oobtaglor in disguise as a hag is certainly intriguing.
We merely need to cause a distraction, keeps her occupied, find the stones, grabs them, and leave. Hags don't want to leave their layers, their hovels, if they do not have to. So a bit of chaos can occasionally be to our advantage. Enough of this politeness with the hags.
This is what I've been saying all this time. I'm all for this idea personally.
If we can avoid making another deal, I think that would be advisable.
I've got no...
They know it's gonna
Ultimately,
go well.
that is what I'm leaning towards. Avoiding
Yeah.
another deal.
I've got no notes or complaints. I say we try it.
Sounds like a
All
plan.
right.
All right. Then at that, I think we will go to our break, and we will come
boy.
back with you explaining to me exactly what you want to do.
Okay.
Awesome.
Fucked. Oobtaglor
Catch you
is
guys in a
fucked.
minute.
Oobtaglor's gonna die.
Rolling with difficulty. Rolling with difficulty.
When last we left our heroes, you have your lead on where to locate these missing sensory stones, these deep emotions that have been stolen from Auntie Ilanka Puzzleweaver. You know that they are being held by Gourmand Gerda of the Spice of Life kitchen in the market ward here in Sigil. So, investigators of Open and Shut, what would you like to do? Specifically, tell me, what are you doing?
Okay, before the break, it sounds like we floated around the idea of Oobtaglor disguising themselves as the hag who, the puzzle lady who hired us, and going in
The
to cause
puzzle
a,
lady. I just said her name.
cause a distraction by being that hag and entering another hag's kind of sanctum, so that the rest of us could sneak about, find the stones, and snatch them, so we could try and kind of con our way through getting them. I don't know that we locked that in, but that was sort of my understanding of what was being floated around, if that makes any sense.
It's locked in Oobtaglor's mind for all they're concerned.
I am not averse to this as a first plan.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I was thinking.
All right. So your plan is to approach the kitchen disguised as the rest. It's like a cafe basically.
Yeah.
Disguised as Auntie Alonka, and see where it goes from there.
Do the rest of us who are not disguised, or I suppose Oobtaglor, you could be involved in this as well, just not disguised, want to, like, scout out the cafe at all before we send the hag decoy in? Like, do we want to go in, get a drink, and sort of just look about the place, or...?
Not particularly.
We could scout it out, I guess.
I mean, I think it would behoove us to at least
Evrard
know
can.
what the interior looks like before we send in not Oobtaglor, you know?
Oh, that
Yeah,
would
I think
be a good thing to do.
Evrard could go on a recon mission. He's from the Market Ward originally. He's familiar with the area. So yeah.
All right, sounds like a plan. Like 70% of a plan.
That's more a plan than I thought.
True.
Making your way over to
Downtown?
Market Ward, and
Walking fast.
in fact, to
Strangers.
Faces pass.
it always is, isn't it?
If only I was around.
To the location of the Spice of Life, which is off Revel Road.
Okay.
You all make your way there, and then Evrard, it sounds like you are going ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
I put my ears in sports mode.
Just like backswept?
Yes, well, which is
Excellent.
where it usually is actually. But and I guess I'll roll stealth and go into recon.
Hell yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay. Not great. That is a total of 12.
All right. Well, trying to blend in on the street, peeling away a little bit from your compatriots so that you're not all together. The Spice of Life eatery does not take long for you to spot. The garish pink draws yours and everyone else's eyes immediately. It's very apparent when you approach it. It is, like a small little, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a cafe, nestled in between two other businesses here. There's some tables out front people are eating at. And, your stealth check doesn't super matter right here because it's open to the public. So you see people are going in and out if you would like to venture in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. You enter in to the front room, the sitting room, where it's not very big. There's not a ton of tables. There's probably somewhere on the order of like a dozen tables in here, plus 2 outside. Each of them small, only meant to hold 3, maybe 4 people if you get them kind of tight. The bright pink myriad cushions, the aesthetic continues. It smells strongly of sweets in here. That
Gingerbread
aesthetic
house
is the
ass.
first thing you notice. The second thing that you notice are the rats. There are rats everywhere. People are picking them up, cuddling them. There's one.
Is this a rat
It's
cafe?
a
The
rat
rat cafe?
It's a rat cafe.
Oh my god. Forget the plan. We're just going to the rat cafe.
Are these like
Are
normal
these regular rats?
Are there
Or-
cranium rats in there?
There are both kinds here. There are both and more.
My god.
There are all kinds of rats here. Some of them have big, floofy poodle-like fur. There's like one asleep in someone's lap. You see one is sitting in a teapot with its little face and whiskers poking out.
Oh
Guys,
god.
focus.
No.
One by your feet cleans its whiskers and yawns.
Bileyg now tolerates
Others
the
of them
idea
are
of scoping out
carrying the dishes in little swarms.
So this is some like fucked up fairy godmother type hag is what we're talking about
This
here.
looks like it. Yes.
Cinderella.
Can we just walk in to the place normally and like I feel like my get a drink option is no longer the craziest one.
Yeah, no,
Evrard,
there's tables open. If you guys want to get a seat, come take a seat.
Evrard will immediately after he sees the rat, and he's going to say, "Oh god, Ingrid would love this." I guess before I go outside and tell them like it's safe to go in, I want to double check. Is there a way to the back? Is there
There's a door. There's a door with a doorway rather with like beads. You can't see into it, but the beads keep shifting back and forth as rats
yes.
crawl underneath. Yeah.
Is there a desk with like an actual person for like ordering food?
No, there's no person staffed at the front here. It appears to be entirely rodents.
All right. Okay. Okay.
All rat all the way down, baby.
Evrard will look down and talk to the nearest rat, and he says, excusez-moi, is there a table for 4 available?
Just makes a bunch of squeaks and leads you off to a table, hops up on the chair, hops up onto the table, slips and falls off onto the back, pulls a whole napkin with a bunch of silverware with it. It runs away in fear, and then 5 or 6 more come and start picking them up and bringing them back up onto the table.
We must stay focused.
No, I
This is the most devious trap we've
I don't
ever
want to be
faced.
focused. I want to fall for the
we-
trap.
This is perfect. Merci. I'll go get my friends. One moment. No. And Evrard will step back out onto the ward and sort of make a sharp whistle and invite
What's it
everyone
like in there? Moss, disgusting toadstools growing from every crevice.
It's pinker than I was
Yes.
expecting.
Madam Ingrid, this is the closest thing to heaven you will have seen in quite a while.
What?
And he said nothing else and just walked back inside.
Do you think he lost it? Made a deal with a hag or something? Got.
Oh, I hate this. Just walking inside.
I will walk
You
inside
guys
and
enter,
go.
you see the scene described. Rats are laying out menus for you guys at the table. A group of them are trying to pull out the chairs unsuccessfully.
That's
I can do
absolutely
this myself.
precious.
In the first episode we released, we made a Ratatouille joke, and it feels like we may have planted the seeds for this 5 sessions ago.
I mean, this has to be a canon character, right?
I'm
There
not
are.
so sure.
This is too adorable, and my guard is fully down right now. So
Yes.
if this is a trap, this is a trap.
If it's a
I'll
trap,
happily
it's
fall for it.
100% working on me, the player, Sophia.
Yes, this is great.
Well,
Oh.
Oobtaglor
Alright.
doesn't like uncleanliness, and they
These
seem
rats
to.
I mean, it
very
seems very
shampooed.
clean. There's no rat poop around or anything.
They clean after themselves.
I think
They're-
that just
they're-
makes
probably
Oobtaglor
words
more
in the
suspicious.
street to use the
Clean
toilet.
animals.
Oobtaglor has very specific preconceptions about rats. You must understand.
Like if anything, they seem to be under control of the ag. This is a giant front, but it is adorable, is it not?
He's very cute.
Austin,
Noir. Buddy.
did you make this a rat cafe so Sophia could finish her quest to find a rat?
My friend, I made this a rat cafe 2 weeks ago, and then 2 hours ago, Sophia tried to get a rat cafe.
I made it a rat cafe 37 minutes ago.
Can I make a perception check, or maybe animal handling?
I should say,
to-
this was always a rat cafe. I chose
always-
this adventure. That makes it sound like I didn't make it up. This is just the reality of the world. Sorry, what's up? What's up, Sophia?
I just want
You're
to
asking
see if
me a
any of
question?
the rats, like, stand out to me, you know?
Are malcontents?
Or adoptable?
Just in any way distinguish themselves from the crowd, however you want to interpret that.
DM,
Alright,
your
go ahead,
most
roll.
adoptable rat.
Roll me a
please.
vibes check.
Yes.
Roll me an insight.
On the
or a
menu, it
perception.
has like the most adoptable, nicely behaved rat.
7.
7? Well, you notice that one rat with a bow tie comes out and hops up on the table in front of you guys and just sits there waiting expectantly as you're each holding your menus in front of you.
Oh, yes. What's on the menu, DM?
It is largely a collection, an assortment of teas, cookies, desserts, cakes. There's a couple different pies and things on the menu, some other kind of like sweet drinks. Hot chocolate is on there.
Beleyg's profound mistrust of all things hag is at war with his halfling nature. At least one pie is going to
It's
be
a real-
ordered.
It's a real tea time kind of situation, but they all have great descriptors, evoking deep emotions.
Right.
Largely positive, but it doesn't. It's not like, you know, the joy of your first kiss and like pie, you know. But it does describe like tea as being like full of jubilation, with the pie as dazzling and things like
Do
that.
any of them strike me as notably similar to the emotions that were stolen from the other hag?
That would be a quick update to the menu.
Yeah, like if there are any recent additions to the menu.
You. What kind of? It seems like it'd be a dice roll. There. You know what? It does seem like there is. you begin to read through and like start to piece apart, and there are not exact ingredients listed, but as you're reading, you do pick up on a couple things that seem to be like highlighted as like they're like the new dish or whatever, like a new tea, a new scone, things like that. And among them, you do notice a repeating pattern of deep, pure love, quench for thirst for revenge. I'd say it sounds. I hate
Vengeance
repeating my words
scones.
exactly because they're phrased differently, but occasionally I struggle for synonym.
Fiery passion.
Yeah, fiery passion and intense longing, heartbreak, things like that are listed among some of the descriptors. You have no reason to believe Mario was lying to you.
Yes.
I will order one of the items that supposedly contains. Let's go with the deep love.
No! We can't. No! Is there anything we haven't learned?
You order a batch of strawberry scones.
Ooh, delightful.
It's,
Good start. Good
does
start.
anyone else?
Merveilleux.
Is anyone else
No!
interested in anything?
What are we doing here?
I have the smell of morning dew tea. That sounds.
Ooh, that does sound lovely. Austin's making rat noises, but
Oobtaglor is
Discord's
in
not picking you up,
shambles!
so it's just
It's
a
not
bunch
coming
of
in through
Austin
Discord.
making faces at us.
Yeah, of course it's
Their
not.
friends
It's
are
tiny
all
sound.
gone!
Bileyg, anything?
1.5 pies.
1.5 pies.
Yeah,
Any specific
no.
flavors?
Yeah, the most normal looking pie flavor, like the one that doesn't have an overtly obvious emotional component that seems incongruous with the flavor for the whole pie, and then for one of the like half pies, it's like, all right, let's try the dazzling one. I'm curious what that means.
Fantastic. You order a blueberry that is described as your favorite treat from childhood.
Aw.
And then you order, the more interesting one, a strawberry rhubarb.
And a tall tea to wash it down, obviously.
And and teas. All right.
Some chocolate scones,
you
just
guys-
to throw it in there.
You guys place your order
We're gonna give Noir
Uh,
a conniption this episode.
at 2 silver pieces. There is a bit of.
I got it. It's on me.
A bit of time passes, and then you hear the beads part as a figure walks into the room. You see back first, and then turning. She's got everything laid across her arms here. You see, she is a pale shade of green. I'm trying to think of the rights. Almost like a mint green that stands in stark contrast to her bright pink apron, poofy kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of hat, the thing you put over your hair to keep your hair like not a hair
Bonnet?
but like bonnet.
Ah.
Yes, she's got like a pink bonnet on, big pink dress. This sweet rosy cheeked emerald
Dark
cheeked
green.
hag
Yeah.
pokes her way out. Oh, hello! You must have ordered the pies, the scones, and for the tea. It's steeped now. Who would care to partake in the tea? And she begins to pour little glasses for you.
Oh,
I
Strawberry
don't
shortcake.
recognize your faces. What are your names, dearie? I'm Gorman Goethe. This is my restaurant.
Has Goethe put everything on the table yet?
She finishes putting everything down and starts pouring the tea.
Oh, don't mind if I do. Whoops! And I'm gonna go and deliberately just like mess everything up on the table and just ruin everything.
Oh, Oobtaglor.
Would do a big slime sneeze.
Yes, anything.
You exude slime across everything. You watch it start to sizzle and dissolve a little bit. She goes, "Oh no, terrible! Do you have a cold, my dear?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Let me get you something warm to ease the sinuses here." She pours a cup of tea and places it into your pseudopods.
You must understand. It's a very terrible cold. I am a cold, essentially.
Oh, dearie, that sounds terrible. Why don't I go about replacing each of these dishes
And I will see about bringing perhaps something a little bit to help with this cold that won't leave you alone.
Thank you.
She goes back within the beads. Rats come out and just start eating the little bits that are left over.
Step out of it!
Before, as she leaves, can Evrard make just an inside check, a vibe check, just to see if this is all
Help action.
how much of a front she's putting on? Because
Yeah,
Right
go
now,
ahead. Make me an
honestly,
insight check.
Sophia as a person, this seems like a very legitimate, like, this lady just loves her rats and loves to
Yeah.
bake.
She's
gotten
and
to
is
you.
getting
She's
a little
gotten to
avant-garde.
everyone here.
the charm has left the table and has penetrated our lives. You know,
Yeah.
Oobtaglor trusts
where
the
we're at.
menu, but not the delivery person.
That is
Oobtaglor did
with
not
a
trust the
plus
menu.
6 at advantage. That's a 21.
All right. She is chaotic neutral, right?
Okay.
Like, she is here not to explicitly harm anyone. She is here to do her thing. What she has focused on is food. She is actually a member of the Searing Tongue.
Oh
my
Like, part of the thing that
God.
happens with some of them, right? Where, like,
They're all bad.
the
They're all evil.
compunctures about morality of food are varying depending on who you ask, because the Moors and Folkways differ vastly between planes. So, she's using people's emotions to spice the food she's serving. Also, she seemed genuinely concerned about Oobtaglor and wanted to get them something to make them feel better, you know? Like, there is a deep, sinister undercurrent to the notion of someone who is okay serving this kind of food to people. And also, she's being totally chill in this moment, trying to help you guys out. She's not trying to curse you in this moment.
Okay.
It's the big chaos, right?
Ingrid
Yeah.
will sort of lean into the middle of the table. Can I propose a new plan if we're able to get a second round of food going? Pointing glance over at Oobtaglor. There are a few of us who have rather sticky fingers in our group, and I do not think that this woman would be opposed to a tour of the kitchen if it were to come to it. I'm sure we could persuade her if we take a bite of the food and it's delicious. You just have to know how it's made, to see the place where it's made.
Oh, you have to have a bite of the food now, don't you?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. It's been a long time since breakfast. But no, I'm saying perhaps
All right, let's
we...
make it. Let's make a deal, you and I. If you're going to have a bite of some of Goethe's food, then you're going to have a bite of some of Puzzle Weaver's food. How about that?
Why would I make that deal?
We
The
have
Puzzle Weaver
to
doesn't
stop
seem to be a
making deals
cook.
today.
This lady's running
She
a
was
business.
stirring something in that pot of hers.
We don't know
I
if that was
don't-
edible.
I would wager that it was not. If I may volunteer a possibly secondary plan, as you may know, I am not so good at the sticky-fingered side of our profession, but I am fairly confident in my ability to potentially distract and require quite a bit of table service if you guys would like to use that as cover to investigate behind the scenes.
Perhaps allow me to propose this. Oobtaglor and Bileyg, you cause a distraction, and Ingrid and Lepan, our stickier-fingered friends, we try and find and steal the seasonings we need back.
Can I at least turn into the hag?
I don't know that that's necessary.
I also don't know if it would work at this
fine.
juncture.
Yeah, Monsieur Oob, I'm afraid that plan is currently off the table, and Evrard will sort of pick up on
Because
pieces
there's a
of
lot
food
of
that
things
have been-
that you'd like on the table now,
don't-
aren't there?
I don't mean to tell you how to do your job, but perhaps the two of us could excuse ourselves to the restroom and...
Well, how much money do any of you have on you right now? We could just pull people off the street, offer to cover their tab, get as many people in here, overload.
I don't think we're gonna need that many people. It's been a long day, and I sort of skipped second breakfast. I'm just saying, if you need somebody to sit here and sample the menu, I'm your man.
Oui, let
Everyone
the
else is
halfling
doing
eat.
huge heist, and Bileyg is just rolling context to see if he can keep eating to keep the hag
But like,
distracted.
the key
Yep,
is
yep.
that you have to keep her engaged as well. It's not just that you can eat a lot. You have to make sure that she's specifically engaged. Ask a lot of questions about the food. Why am I telling you this? You know how to do this.
You know, I tell you, I don't like to brag, and I don't like to demean this lovely city, but this is probably the best restaurant we have seen thus far in my stay in this place. I would be delighted to discuss her stratagems, her secrets. I was never the big cook in the family, but the
Okay.
standard is so low here.
New plan. Bileyg, your job is distraction. You are going to keep the hag occupied as long as possible. When she comes back to the table, start ordering food. I'm going to excuse myself to the restroom and sneak into the back kitchen. The other two also stealth. Lepan, I think your team's stealthy. Oobtaglor, you seem uncomfortable with the situation, so I will allow you to decide your fate. Bileyg, if you
Yes, if
successfully
anything-
keep this
to you.
hag distracted, I will cover any tab you amass here.
Oh, well, that's very generous of you, ma'am. But you can take it out of my next paycheck if necessary.
No, this is a personal boon. If you can order as much as you want if you keep this
I'm
hag
making
distracted.
so many deals today, and I don't feel good about any of them.
Dear
This
diary,
case for
my
Bileyg
friends
is
have
like
been
in
taken.
Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, everyone's favorite movie,
Yes.
where they Scooby and Shaggy come to the cotton candy ghost.
Yeah.
The cotton candy glob or
Like
whatever it's
Scoop,
called.
we got no choice but to eat this monster.
Cotton candy. Go, huh? Yeah, exactly. Just like I've been preparing all my life for this moment.
Bileyg was bracing for the worst case scenario, and this is
This
so
is
much
the worst
better.
case scenario. You don't understand. It's Oobtaglor against the world here.
All right.
All right. Well, and if
sort of-
anything goes wrong, just scream real loud, and I'll see what I can do.
Yes, if anything goes wrong, all hell will break loose, so it's probably fine.
All right.
Oobtaglor, maybe, like the Pied Piper? Distracting all the rats and all? Maybe you could do a performance and keep the rats entertained.
You don't see it, but Oobtaglor is seething.
Oobtaglor is bubbling gently.
Oobtaglor is bubbling. But they still whip out their lute and start playing a little song.
All right, so declaring what actions are about to be taken, going down the line, Noir, what are you about to do?
Oobtaglor will play distraction and basically try and keep Gertha at this table for as long as possible
Okay. Bileyg.
without eating any of the food.
Bileyg is
Okay,
going to do
Bileyg.
that with eating the food.
Okay. Sophia?
Ingrid is going to excuse herself to the restroom and then sneak into the back of the shop and try and find the stones.
Okay, and Evrard.
Evrard will wait an appropriate amount of time to go check on Ingrid. She's been gone a while, and then join her.
All right. So, sequence of events. Ingrid, you sneak out a moment before. Sorry, I almost called her Auntie Alunga. A moment before Gerda returns. She has all the food you ordered and more held within her arms. And she says, "So sorry about the wait. Oh, so much food. You must be so hungry after all this time. Please, allow me to serve." Places on the table, pours tea, and let you dig in. I'm sure that you're famished and don't need me hovering over you pretties. And begins to turn to go back in.
Oh, no, ma'am. I would be delighted to discuss. I tell you, you've got the most impressive menu I've seen in this entire city. The range of ingredients on display, and like fresh pastry every day, that alone is a standard most of these places don't get to, I tell you.
Oobtaglor, is there anything you're contributing?
And surely some amount, a non-trivial amount of work must have gone into shaping these bespoke pastries. Surely there has to be a story behind each one, and as a storyteller myself, I would be remiss if I were not to ask you for each and every one.
All right. Persuasion from both, or persuasion with advantage from one?
You're probably gonna beat me on this one. Oh, mine is +5.
I have +8. I mean, I
All
feel
right,
like we can both
take the advantage.
Okay. 17 + 8 is
Yeah!
25.
25. You're proficient in persuasion, right, Bileyg?
Yes.
That's
Wait.
why +5.
Yes. Yeah, it's got the little dot.
Yep,
next to
okay.
it.
Then the help action, all good. All right. Yeah, Oobtaglor, you both, but between the two of you, oh, well, it's so kind of you to ask. Many not so polite here, but very few want to have full conversations with the chef. I so rarely get out of the kitchen. Of course, it's the place that I adore the most in the whole world. And then she goes on to describe where she got each of these recipes in excruciating detail.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. She is distracted, so we do not need to worry about her detecting Ingrid. So Ingrid, sneaking in the back, go ahead and make me a stealth check. The back is unlocked.
Great. I make these with advantage because of my cloak of elven kind. That's going to be a 21 total.
There we go.
All right. On a 21, you sneak into the back. The back door has a staircase that leads up to an upstairs, presumably where she lives. And there's also a small hallway. The back door is out in like an alley. There's just a shit alley. Sigil is half streets, half alleys. There's just like a shit ton of tiny narrow things that, although houses are weirdly built to like have these spaces behind them. Any case, it's a real maze. Any case, you sneak in through there. There's a small hallway that leads off to the kitchen in addition to the upstairs. You take the kitchen. You find yourself in a very long. It's longer than it is wide, so it's narrow by that margin, but there's still like, a good 20 feet across the room. It's not tiny. Massive ovens on either side, and you can see pastries currently in them. There's just a mess on this huge table. This like gotta be like 40-foot long table here. There's just like all kinds of like half-prepared stuff going on here. You see clean utensils lined up. You see dirty utensils. You see like there's a big spot of flour where she was clearly just kneading dough going on. This is the kitchen, and would you like to investigate?
I would. As a point of order, are there any rats around?
Make me an investigation check.
Ooh.
That's a 26.
I mean, okay, so the answer is yes, there are rats about. Your stealth is quite good, though, and there are fewer in here than there are out there, especially because Gorman doesn't have anything coming out right now, right? There's no need to be served. So there are a smaller amount of rats. So, if I recall, you rolled a 21 on your stealth and a 26 just now on investigation?
Yep.
Okay. You begin to sneak around, and you notice that there is a guard rat that is giant, asleep in the corner. It is
a big boy,
as big as you.
Oh, you're
like
saying
giant.
Oh, okay, not like a pudgy one.
No, it's like almost
Okay.
as big as you. It's got white fur, and it's asleep in the corner. And your stealth did beat its passive perception, even with its keen senses. You begin to tiptoe around looking. You begin to tiptoe around looking for where these sensory stones could be stored. You start poking around, and you look around, and you don't see them anywhere in this room. But on 26, you notice that there's a lot of ingredients that must be here that aren't in this room. Like, she's got fresh fruit in all these pies, and you're seeing shelves with like tools on them, pots and pans and other utensils and things like that. You see plenty of kind of mundane ingredients like sacks of flour and sugar are out, but anything that would be more interesting, you're not seeing any meats or fruits, things like that. You are not seeing around. So there must be some sort of
Like a cellar or
there must be something hidden around the room, and you start looking around. On 26, you're gonna get a few levels through this mystery on a 26. You begin searching the room, and your eye is drawn to one spot on a wall where you notice a couple things. There are high shelves that run along the wall, like hung up, and there are low shelves, literally like shelving units that sit on the ground. And you notice there is a space between them, about 5 feet-ish wide, between two of these bookshelves where other shelves run along the top. The space draws you in. The location also draws you in. There is a cage on the shelf above here, and as you peek in, the only rat you've seen so far not loose is inside this cage. You see that there is a cage there There's a little cranium rat, bright silver fur, his little brain in there, and he's wearing a little collar that says Meech. And as you approach, he kind of comes up and sniffs at the wires of this cage. This cage is probably like a foot long, half a foot wide. It's pretty small and just kind of sitting there among a lot of other stuff. There's like books lined up and other like knickknacks here on this higher up shelf.
Your Meech?
Just lets out a little rat sound.
I need to get to the area behind the shelf. Can you help with that?
Double check to see if cranium rats understand it.
Why else would its brain be visible if not to be used for thinking?
If it helps, I can also speak Elvish and Infernal.
Yeah, this rat seems like it knows Elvish.
Yes, it speaks infernal.
Make an animal handling check. If there's anything you would like to do, there might be able to like lower the DC or give you advantage. I'll give you a moment to decide that. But
does it
make
seem
me an
like
animal
Meech
handling check.
is like comfy in his little cage, or like he wants out?
No, it's a tiny little wire cage.
Meech wants out.
Free Meech.
Meech,
Free our boy.
I'll let you out if you help me. Huh? You get that?
We are
Go
making
ahead, make an
so
animal
many
handling
deals.
check at advantage.
Excellent. This is 2 straight rolls. It's a 16.
All right. You see the rat comes to the edge and begins to give like a little nod.
I will, if the cage is locked, I will pick it. I would like to free this rat.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a lockpick.
It's 12.
12. You go to pick the lock.
Oh no.
You
Meech.
get it open, but as you do, a piece of it snaps. I need you to please make me another stealth check to see if you are going to wake up the guard rat.
Natural 20.
Okay.
It's
So we
all
just
for
win,
Meech.
right?
It's all for Meech, guys.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. We win.
You hear pink. The ping goes ding 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 ding, and rolls over to the rat, who does a snore squeak and rolls over again.
Snore squeak.
Oh, thank God.
All right. You pick up the rat, and as you do, you look into its little rat eyes, and you telepathically receive an image. You see the wall you're standing in front of opening with a key that the hag inserts, a key made of braided little rat whiskers that goes into a illusory hidden keyhole on this wall and opens up a false door into a pantry. You see it from the rat's perspective. Like, she goes and puts the key in. He's sitting up on top there.
Knowing where the keyhole is, could I attempt to pick that lock at all? Or do I need the key?
You can absolutely. So with a 26 investigation and seeing where it was, you can find the illusory. That's no problem. You can either try to find the key or you can try to pick it. That is up to you.
I'll look into Meech's little eyes and be like, "Thank you, my friend. Come along." Put him on my shoulder and be like, "I guess we're going in this together." And I'm going to roll to lockpick.
Okay. Roll to lock pick.
That's a 30-20.
Roll to pick a lock.
That's a 30-20,
That's-
dude.
What'd you say?
That's a 30-20, dude.
Total of 20. On a DC. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, wait. Before I say anything, let me double check.
How many pies deep is
Arcane.
Bileyg right now?
Pacing myself.
Bileyg, roll me a Constitution save.
Yeah.
Aye, aye, Captain.
I feel like you should get to do this with advantage. Just knowing Bileyg's background.
I'll allow advantage.
Halfling advantage, yes.
This could be an instance of my use of brave. It's a flat 16. I have no bonus to Constitution.
Flat 16. Okay. First off, first pie, no problem. We don't even
Yeah.
have to worry about the DC. DC 10. 2 pies. Pretty good. DC 15.
Yes.
3 pies.
I'm working my way through the 3rd pie.
Oh yeah.
End of 3rd pie, you're starting to leave a little crust behind. Like, you're starting to waver there.
Yeah,
like, you're going to get it, but pie 4 is going to be pie 4 is probably it's a pie in the sky dream, you know?
I'm going to start pivoting focus to the drinks menu. Some good teas to wash things down where it's okay
Gotta
for you to
wash it
sip
down,
and
gotta wash it
savor
down.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm glad I double-checked this.
Oh, shit.
While affected by this spell, the object is more difficult to break or force open. The DC is increased by 10. So a dirty 20 is not high enough to pick this lock.
Damn.
Okay. At this point, I think Evrard will politely stand.
Yeah.
And I was like, excusez-moi, I'd like to go check on my friend Ingrid. I'll be right back. And I'll slink away.
Yeah, Vipad, you don't even have to. She's nothing suspicious about a friend checking on another friend. People do have to excuse themselves from this restaurant often and take a little while with the amount of food that's served here. Mm-hmm. So you go out, go ahead, and you're going to sneak in after Ingrid?
Yes.
Okay, I need that stealth check.
Let's go.
Come on, Le Pen.
Okay. Cool. Plus 7. Okay, that's cool. 22.
Woohoo!
Okay, 22. You still beat the guard rats. Yeah, you beat its DC. So you are good. You sneak in and find that Ingrid is struggling with the lock right now.
It's This is Meech, and they told me about a key that the hag has that can open the store. I attempted to pick it, but it is beyond my skill. I don't know if you want to take a crack at it as a thief, or if we need to get our hands on that key.
Evrard will turn to Meech and says, bonjour, cheese to meet you. And
This is my new favorite episode we've ever recorded.
The tone
That's all
is
Matt, there was a
all
cheese to
over
meet
the
you
place.
reference.
I had to do it. And it's like, we look. And you've tried?
I have, and I did rather well, I thought, but not well enough.
Missing the key. Okay. Should I? And I imagine, Ingrid would have told me that the key was originally made out of mouse whiskers and on the hag. Could I sneak back out and attempt to snatch it off the preoccupied chef?
You absolutely could. So you're not going to have to sneak back out. Like, if you want to go back in the normal way, here a couple options. If you want to just go back in through the front and be like, I checked on her, she's okay. No stealth check required.
Okay.
You're going to have to know where the key is, and then you're going to have to get it off of her. So it's going to be 2 separate checks. If you want to sneak up on her, you might have a better chance of finding it, but you're going to have to stealth up on her first. So, your choice how you're going to approach this.
I think I would like to try to sneak up on her.
Okay. So
Ingrid, perhaps a little luck?
Yes, of course. I will inspire Le Pen to ensure that he has a little extra oomph, as it were, and I will do so by very quietly singing, "Rats, rats, where the rats? Go get that key."
Germa?
Fantastic. And yeah, I'll sneak back out and see if I can get this key.
Is that
real
from something? I just heard it on
All
TikTok.
Oh.
There's a YouTuber called Germa985.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's
god,
also
it's
a streamer.
Germa?
That's Germa.
quick. Yes.
Well, thank you, Germa,
Wow.
for the rat song.
all right, I don't know anything about this.
We
Because I'm well adjusted.
We pray.
Wally, first off, stealth
Shit.
check. Oh, let me bring up her stats. What are the
Okay.
stats? Let's take a look at the stats.
I'm the bigger
Flip
rat
to
who makes all
hag.
of the rules.
Okay.
All
Even
right.
better than
I
last
only
time.
know the We're the Rats part because people use it on their little TikToks.
That's a 24 to sneak back out.
Woohoo!
Okay, first off, no problem. You wait for some rats to move some of the beads, and you slide right through. Like only Oobtaglor could have done it better, passing through the small area here without disturbing it and keeping your body low, ears bent down so that they don't stick up over the tables as you come up behind her. All right, trick number 2. You're gonna have to find the key in order to snatch it.
Okay, what, like an investigation
So
check?
This is a investigation or a perception check.
Oh, perception. Well, we'll take perception.
Perception check.
Okay.
Cool. That's 13 plus 8. 21.
21. All right, 21. You watch as her movements, and then you notice that tied around her left wrist, there is a faint. You can see a bracelet. You can't even see the key for a moment. What you first see is the bracelet of whiskers tied around her wrist, and then the thing attached to it. If you didn't know you were looking for a whisker key, you might have completely dismissed it, but now you suspect that it's there. All right. Your last check is going to be a sleight of hand.
Cool. I will put on my white gloves very gingerly. Breathe, and I will make this roll. I will most like. I only
I'm
have.
imagining like, what's the name of the captain from Sound of Music? The dad. I just saw the video of him putting on the white gloves the other day.
Captain Von
before he
Trapp?
dances with Julie Andrews. Thank you, Von Trapp.
Yes,
the Von
yeah.
Trapps.
There's got to be a Bugs Bunny
that,
gif
like,
of this, but I can't
There's
find it.
like a
Most
very
likely.
particular way he does it. It's very like gentlemanly and anyway. All right.
Okay. It's only. I rolled a 9 plus 5 is 14. I will use the bardic inspiration on this.
Okay.
This is a D6, correct?
D6, yeah.
Okay. And that's a 5.
Whew.
So
For a total of 19.
correct.
For a total of 19. Evrard, how do you get this off her wrist?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I imagine Oob sort of like notices me just like very slightly in the corner, and what he sees is I sort of expand the band of whiskers very slightly, and sort of shimmy it down. Oh, I wait for her to move her hand up. I just keep the band in place, and it comes right off of her hand.
Oh.
Nice.
As she punctuates with a flourish to emphasize a point in one of her stories, you effortlessly slip right off her wrist, and into your gloved hand falls a braided key of little rat whiskers.
And
All
with
right,
that,
you have
back to the kitchen.
You have one more. You have one more check to make,
oh right, oh, man.
which is re-entering the kitchen.
Come on,
Okay.
LePen.
Stealth check, baby.
I'm the
There's a
giant
guard rat there.
That makes all
Okay.
of the rules.
Okay.
I didn't know this was a thing, Noir. I thought it was
What's
just a little
crazy
rat song
is-
from the internet.
What's
Well,
crazy
I
is
mean,
technically
you-
I've been making these rolls at disadvantage because I have the wrong armor on, but I've been doing all right.
Wow.
So, okay, here we go.
I should have given you my cloak.
Okay, it's the highest is an 18, but the lowest is a 13 for a total of 20.
Total of 20.
Why do
I
the
have
rest
a
of us
plus
even
7
roll
self.
dice?
I'm just
You
along
guys
for
are
the ride
so
at this
low
point.
level too. Hold on, let me double check. I moved to the cranium rat stat block to see if they were smart, and
Me-
they're not smart, but they are telepathic. They speak telepathy, which makes me think, well, does that mean they know any languages? Because usually, anyway,
They transmit rat thoughts, you know,
Yeah.
and we've all had rat thoughts.
You know.
what,
Oh, yeah.
what did you
Once
say the total was,
cheese.
Wally?
20.
On a passive perception of 19,
Woo!
you make it back in. There's a moment where a wooden spoon that's on the corner of the table, you brush it with one of your ears, it tumbles to the floor, and then you catch it with a big rabbit foot before it can hit.
Hell yeah.
Place it back up, make it back over, insert into the invisible lock.
I'll let
turn.
Ingrid do the honors. I'd give it to Ingrid. I'd bow the key, madame, and give it to
Thank
Ingrid.
you. This one's for you, Meech, and
Fast.
I'll open the door.
You open it into an expansive pantry as big as the kitchen, shelves everywhere, barrels full of
Children.
fish and cheeses, fruits. There are these giant pumpkins, big as Bileyg, all over in the corner, stacked up. There's
I'm a unit of
all
measurement
manner,
now.
these barrels of spices, just cardamom and chili powder piled up in these crates.
We have to find the stones. Okay. Investigate, I suppose. Does it seem like it's sorted by type of, like, food group at all, or anything of that sort?
No.
Well, it should be. We're looking for stones.
Remember when
not
I said she was
spices.
chaotic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to draw it, but to start searching, I suppose.
Evrard will keep watch. My investigation score is not that great. So,
Mine's
Okay.
pretty good.
So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to need a persuasion or a performance check from the crowd outside to keep Gourmand Gerda distracted. The DC is going to go... Here's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The DC is going to go up by 2 every time you need to keep distracting her. And I already know the DCs for finding these items. If you... There's a layer to the DC, Sophia. So it's technically possible for you to roll high enough to get all of them, with Noir and Red having to only do one more distraction.
Okay.
If you don't get all of them, that's fine. We'll go on to another round of distraction. So it's going to be escalating DC, and then on you each time you roll to see how many of them you can find in this room. Okay.
Gotcha. It's
So
you and me,
out
Meech.
in the out in the foyer, out in that's not
In
really
the
foyer, out in the
cafe.
sitting room.
Yeah.
The cafe, out in the sitting room, as she calls it. The hag is still carrying away and begins to make an excuse to return to the kitchen to check on some croissants that she has firing away.
Oh, I almost don't want to stop her from that.
Focus, Bileyg. Focus.
But the dough takes so long. It would be a huge wait. Okay, I can give you help on persuasion, because I'm proficient in it, and you're definitely better at it than me.
Sure. Okay.
I don't
All right,
have
what do you say?
proficiency in performance.
Well, before you come out and introduce us to these croissants, because we must have some. Yes, Bileyg, you must preamble with with the story that they came from. Yes.
All right, go ahead, make your check. I'll tell you the DC's 17.
Okay, I clear that. Natural 14 plus 8.
Woo!
Okay. Yeah, so it started at 15 for the first one. This has gone up 2 to 17. All right.
Okay.
Ingrid, with the amount of time they buy you with the croissants, I was thinking of Blue the one time. He was like, I know croissants.
Croissant.
Croissant.
Anyway, Sophia, go ahead and give me your investigation or perception. I assume you're
I'm
going to do
going to do investigation,
check.
thank you very much. I expertised it for this campaign specifically.
Yeah.
That's a 27.
Oh my god.
Oh, just the 27.
19
Yeah.
Why did the rest of us
you
even
fucking
bother to
kidding
roll
me?
dice?
I put so many challenges in front of you guys. I put near impossible DCs in front of you guys constantly. Okay. On a 27. So the DC to find 1 was 15. I assumed you'd find a 15. DC to find 2 was 20. I thought that was possible. And the DC to find all 3 in this amount of time is 25.
Meech
well,
gave
you know
me
what?
strength.
Why don't I describe the map so that at least we get some use. You begin poking around, searching through all of these shelves, barrels, baskets. There's even food strung up on the wall, and you find that things here are often concealed. The first memory, that of a love so pure. You find clasped within the curled tentacle of a dead squid sitting in a basket of dead squid.
Ugh. I mean, I like calamari.
It's got
but-
ice on it.
Oh. Don't look, Meech.
The second requires a nose-pinching dive deep into a barrel of chili powder in order to find it, but an unusual divot in the surface tells you that there is something hard beneath the surface as you reach your hand in. And the third and final one is actually nestled among a bunch of cut wheat. There's like a bunch of wheat stalks here bundled off in the corner, and as you begin to piece through, you find inserted deep within the ropes the final stone.
All right. Can I grab a nice vintage on my way out, or?
What?
My goodness.
Yeah, go for it.
Hell yeah.
Come on.
I like a nice rosé. I'm not a complicated woman.
Well, I guess I'll just have to tip a little extra.
Oh.
Yes, it's from the year 1210, so it's quite old.
Ooh.
I saw some people discussing the notion that because of some lore that I'm not totally familiar with, that this campaign must take place 100 years before the Paraspor campaign, and this is some big secret mystery. No, I think I decided this campaign takes place about 2 years after the conclusion of campaign 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I believe it's the year 1496, if I did my math correctly.
Wow.
In any case,
It might have been just
for
because,
those curious.
Lapan,
And
the
in
goods
case
are
you
required,
find all of
Our
them-
and
This is what
I
we're
think
doing.
we should leave post-haste and maybe get a croissant on the way out or something, you know, stop at the table.
Oui.
Act normal.
Something. But of course. Also, great choice of wine.
Darling, you know.
You're gonna politely excuse yourself with a full pilfered bottle of wine,
Stick it in my
along with the
bag.
much more easily
We
concealable.
have places to put it. Yeah.
We've got Master Thief
I mean, you can just grab a
Lapan.
croissant on your way out if you want. They're sitting
Oh,
right there.
That's gauche.
They're starting to burn.
Oh no,
Let's retrieve our companions and
my actions. They're so immoral.
and get out of here.
All right, you guys make your way back out. I'm trying to think. I don't think it's reasonable to ask for any more stealth checks against the rat. I think that you guys have. There's nothing more. There's nothing more for you to do that is noisy and disruptive. The only
I
question
would-
is, what are you going to do with the key?
Did you free Meech yet?
Oh,
Or-
I do
Okay,
have.
Meech is free.
She's got Meech, yeah.
I would
Oh,
like
okay,
Meech.
I mean,
to-
here's the thing: if you're taking Meech, I mean, there's no way to. She's gonna come looking for these things, so there's no way for her to. How to put it? Like, she's gonna know there was a thief at some point. So I guess
Sure.
it's really up to you what you want to do with the key. Whether you want to put it on her to try and like disguise as much of the theft as possible, or if you're just like, she's gonna know that someone was in here and stole it, might as well just like leave the key behind.
Yeah, let's leave it in Meech's cage.
Oh yeah, like me.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
a little
Frame
taunting.
the rat.
Meech stole it.
Meech took Meech stole the stones and the bottle of wine. And
That's
ran
what you
away.
get for putting him
Mastermind.
in a cage.
Yeah.
That was mean.
You don't cross Meech like that. You're a little mastermind. If you'd like to come with us, you're welcome to. You know, I don't really know how to handle animals, but you do what to do.
You get a telepathic image of him being freed by you. It's weird to see your face from from like a small,
My
high
eyeline is
up
a little
angle
uneven
like
today.
this. But yeah, you're like, ooh, it's a little. That's not the most flattering angle, honestly, what a rat sees of me. But you get the notion that he's gonna stick with you.
Then-
And
Meech, if you could do your best to hide yourself from the hag until we leave this place. I'll open up my like little side satchel pocket and be like, go ahead, Meech.
well, are you going to go back into the sitting room and finish your meal, Ingrid, or are you guys just gonna call it?
My thought was, well, Ingrid will just reappear from the bathroom being like, oh my goodness, I don't know what got into me, and say that she's not feeling well and gonna head home to kind of like cover the tracks as the disappearing act.
Okay.
I'll say that. What if I go back in and I say Ingrid was not feeling great. She headed back to the office early. And if we're done here, we should wrap up and we can go
could be
eat
good.
up. Yep.
and I'll meet you guys in the alleyway
All
with
right.
a bottle of wine and each.
Bileyg is gonna get like
Yeah.
halfway through the sentence of being
Wally?
like, "I'll take a pie to go," and then just see
Yes.
Evrard's like, "No, we gotta go now. Don't
Yeah.
send her back to the kitchen
Evrard?
first."
I would love for you to make me one final check. I'd love for you to make me a deception check.
With pleasure.
Come on, Lepan.
Cool. That's an 18 plus 8.
All right.
Plus 8. Oh, you're having so
26.
much fun with this.
This rips.
Excusez-moi, madame.
Oh, that's-
Gourmand Gertie. It seems mon amie, Madame Ingrid, is very sensitive stomach. It's nothing. Your cooking has been absolutely amazing, but she's not feeling well. She had to go home. And I see you've treated my friend here with quite a generous banquet. But it is getting late in the afternoon, and we have to leave soon.
She goes, "Oh, that's terrible. Oh no, poor thing here. I have just the thing, some rolls with herbs to settle the stomach." She goes, and you see it looks like she's going to, go into the kitchen, and there's this, heartbeats, gets caught in your throat moment where you're she can go back and see everything. Instead, she just reaches her arm through the curtain of beads, grabs something, pulls back in a basket. Keep it right here in case of emergencies. Need to send it with someone quickly. Here, take that back to your friend. Enjoy, please. Come back anytime. It's been so marvelous to speak with you and feed you cuties. Gives Bileyg cheek a big pinch.
Whoa. I tell you, ma'am, I may
She
just take
smells
you up on that.
aspartame, like artificial sweetener.
Whoa, that's yeah. There's a lot happening today. Bileyg is about ready for the day to be over.
Can I ask what the bill totaled
Alright.
up to?
Yeah, Beleyg's gonna cover it.
No. You're getting reimbursed to the Ingrid Starling.
Well, yeah, I'm getting
ownership fund,
reimbursed, but Bileyg is still gonna cover it.
For comedic effect, I would like to know how expensive.
Several courses of food. Let's go ahead and say 7 gold. Rolls were on the house at the end.
Oh, she's so nice. I will never in my life make a deal with her, but I will come back for more food. It's like, wow, Ivanka really gave me a skewed perspective on what hags are all like, and now it's like, wow, I've re-examined my biases. She's just the one that sucks.
We all reconvene. I
All right,
suppose.
fantastic.
Probably
You
truly
guys
the first
reconvene.
meal Bileyg considers to have been a good meal since he got here.
Sensory stones acquired, new rat companion, and bottle of wine in hand. Investigators have opened and shut cases. What would you like to do?
Well, Oobtaglor, I'd first like to apologize. I know you were very eager to transform yourself for this mission, but it just a different way presented itself, and I think we took the only possible option. But in the future, should an opportunity arise, be rest assured that your acting talents will come to bear. In the meantime, though, I suppose we should go back to the original hag and Bileyg relieve you of this contract.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
I take umbrage with the idea that this was the only way, but I cannot deny that a path of least resistance did present itself, and we did take it, and so I am satisfied in that regard.
You are a fluid, so it would make sense that you prefer the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
All right. Then, I believe with no further ado, you return back to see Auntie Ilanka Puzzle Weaver back to the bemused Bothy.
Oh, we should have
Door
kept the
swings
key
open.
and given it to her.
Why?
Would have been. They're petty. They're hags. It would have made her smile.
It
For
would have
the
been
first
pretty
time in-
clever to plant it on her or something.
Yeah. It's fine. It's okay.
But you guys return back, the door opens, and you find her sitting by the fire, the dim light being used for her to read. You see she's reading a book called, it says, Death on the Sticks by Hagatha Christie.
Hey!
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all coming full circle.
As you...
The twist in that one is it's the ferryman all along.
As you enter, she pulls out a bookmark made of braided human hair, puts it in, closes it.
God.
It says,
Oh, you return. Do you have what I need? Do you have what I lost?
Turn to Bileyg,
Ingrid, would you?
who I would have given the stones to at this point, because I feel like this is kind of his thing to lead.
I'll present them.
You present. She snatches quickly and pulls them in close.
Oh, oh, thank goodness. I'd begun to miss them so. My preciouses, my preciouses.
Goes and puts them back on the shelf.
Well, Bileyg, deal's a deal.
She snaps, and the sword comes down off the wall, floats down to her hand, and then she presents it to you.
May your arm be complete again.
Pleasure doing business with you, ma'am. Hopefully we don't make a habit of it.
Oh, I'd say that this worked out pretty well. Who knows, there might even be something that you wish to know about yourself in the future.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see.
All right.
Would you be interested to know who the purloiner was?
Oobtaglor.
What?
Now, that wasn't part of the bargain, but I would be interested to know.
She beckons with a long, crooked finger.
Do tell me, Oobtaglor.
I lean in close and I say, what'll you give me?
What do you crave? Fame? Infamy? Perhaps? Fortune? Perhaps? Notoriety? You seem the performative sort.
How about we leave it as a favor that I may call in at a time of my choosing?
Oh, a favor. I'm sure that we can figure out some way to make that work very well, my dear. A
Please.
favor for a name.
Gertie.
Gertie.
It's Gerda, but I assume you said
Gerda. Sorry.
They've got the umlaut over it.
She snarls and kind of pulls her face in clenched and tight. She clearly knows who this person is.
Do with that as you may.
Well, very well. I don't suppose you perhaps offed her in order to get these returned.
And deprive you of the honor, I should say, rather.
Oh, so thoughtful of you. Very well, a deal's a deal. In the future, one favor. Oh, on the subject of favors and doing nice things for new friends before we go, Bileyg, I just thought that you should know. Since your return last time didn't work, perhaps I could give you a bit of advice. Free of charge, although it pains me so to say.
Well, then put yourself out about it.
If you wish to return, you should let go of the question, how did it happen? And start asking, who is responsible? Good day to all of you.
Evrard will politely bow,
Yeah,
open the door for his compatriots.
let's get out of here.
Yeah, no, we did. We never had no.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah,
nod.
you leave. Red, if you would like to go ahead and search, who was it? Sokhethezi? I believe is the name of the city in which you trained.
Yes.
If you search Sokhethezi longsword in your inventory, you should be able to add it.
Very nice.
Yay!
Special little treat.
Oh my
I
gosh,
believe,
it glows.
I can't remember if
It glows all the
yes.
time.
I'm forgetting if I added attunement to it. It should be attunement, but if you would like, you can read it out, or you can keep it for the future if you'd like.
Okay.
No, I'll read it out loud.
Okay.
This sword is a sentient, lawful good +1 short sword with the stats Int 11, Wisdom 13, Charisma 13. It has hearing and normal vision out to a range of 120 feet. It communicates by transmitting emotion to the creature carrying or wielding it. The sword's purpose is to fight evil. The sword has the following additional properties. It continually sheds bright light in a 15-foot radius and dim light for an additional 15 feet. Only by destroying the sword can this light be extinguished. A lawful good creature can attune itself to the sword in 1 minute. And while attuned, I can use the sword to cast the Crusader's Mantle spell once a day. So I've been attempting to attune to it since we, since I
You
got
successfully
it in my hand.
attune. You feel the familiar weight in your hand, pulling the sword from its sheath an inch or two.
Swing.
The glow floods the area around you, and you feel that familiar presence in your mind. The bolstering of your spirit that you know all too well. And a flood of relief. The sword has missed you.
I've missed you too, bud. Lean my
So
forehead
as long
against
as
the
it's
blade.
sheathed, the light is down. So
Oh,
you can
good.
sheathe
So-
it to make it not always
So
be
my
a big, strong
stealth checks
beacon.
aren't just auto-failing now. Like, I already roll them at disadvantage.
All right. And with prize in hand, is there anything else that the investigators of open and shut cases would like to take care of?
Yes, I'd like to build a little. If Meech will have me, I would love to install for him in the office like a little rat bed, a little fancy, like very shiny, very posh little water bowl, like the little rat water thing, and food bowl.
absolutely.
Like I want Meech
It's-
to be situated like a little king. I'm like, you live here now.
What
You're
Meech needs
welcome to come and go as you
on the
like.
desk.
But I would ask that if you're in the office, if anyone comes to visit, that you welcome them and keep an eye out for ne'er-do-wells.
Meech needs a smaller copy of your desk on the corner of your desk.
Yes, I would like to get a little tiny rat-sized desk for Meech, and I would like to put it on the desk.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of strange with Meech because Meech immediately takes to you, probably because you freed him from captivity. And there is a strange thing where he really is excited about all the nice things you pamper him with. And thinking back, I mean, it makes sense because he's been in a cage, right? Like, for some reason he was caged in there. So
He's a
yeah,
rat
he
criminal.
immediately bonds and connects and is very grateful to you. Yeah, and you have a little cranium rat companion.
Amazing. Meech, what kind of food do you like? Like, what would you like me to be getting to feed you with?
You get a bunch of memories of, like, basically garbage that she was feeding him. And then, you remember him being... he transmits a memory of him being fed a grape, and he loved it.
I can get you all the grapes you'd ever want.
Grape or crepe? Like C-R-E-P.
Grape.
This has worked
Great.
amazingly. I think this is by
Little
far
fruit.
our most successful
Yeah,
session
Austin,
so
in
far.
addition to my annual business card fee, I would like to add grapes to the expense list for Ingrid.
Let's call it a wash on your daily expenses.
Yes.
1 copper every day for grapes.
All right.
Well, look at that, Ingrid. We both have things that we look after now.
What's
Mine
He has a
doesn't
house.
eat
I keep
anybody
forgetting the
else,
house.
So
I'm a homeowner. Yes.
The fantasy of D&D.
I own property
I own a
in
home.
Sigil.
It eats people.
Sure.
All right.
I've been getting like D&D YouTube shorts recommended to me, and one of them was like the horrifying plot twist that the whole building they were in turned out to be a mimic, and I was like, oh, been there, done that, like episode 3, get on my level.
It's a real classic. Mm-hmm. All right. If we have no other things that we want to follow up on, Wally?
One last thing. On the walk back to Bileyg's apartment, Evrard wants to have a talk.
Oh,
Combo.
Quite the exciting day, oui?
yeah, I'll say. I tell you, when I woke up this morning, I did not think the day was gonna go well.
I know you looked, not yourself.
Yeah, well, things feel a little bit more balanced, I suppose.
Oui, balancing skills is something I'm trying to do a bit myself. But I'm curious, what's it like on the mountain?
Oh. Well, the first time I ascended a level, I was shocked at how different it was. I grew up in Venya, which is the third layer. I'd never even seen the first and second. It's a little halfling community that just lives there, under the guard of the gods. It's beautiful, pastoral, high skies. The mountains it's a little funny when you look at it. It's kind of an optical illusion. It keeps going up forever, but you can still see sky. And, big family, Pretty much no troubles down there. It's literally, it's paradise for people who aren't born there, and for the people who are, it's a life of leisure and everything you could want, except that something, That thing that pushes you onward, pushes you out the door in the morning, tells you to go find new things.
I'm afraid I don't quite know how that feels, unfortunately. I grew up in the market ward. Every day was a struggle. It was not up to my parents to feed me and my 70 other brothers and sisters.
Wow.
I was left to my own devices, and I liked trouble, and trouble liked me. But nowadays, I'm looking to what that peace that might be waiting for me on the other side of all of this. Yeah. So, if I ever find myself on that mountain and you're there, promise me we'd go out, get lunch sometime.
Of course. I tell you, one of my best friends growing up was a lantern archon, and funny story about those. They start off as the souls of people who've passed on from other planes. They arrive, climb, change, grow, discover what they're gonna be. He's a hound archon now. Yeah.
Good for your friend.
Yeah, it's the one thing I've learned over time is that everyone's climbing a mountain of their own, and they don't always know it, but you can't climb without changing, and what you become, it's not always up to you, but it's always better, I don't really know how to describe it. Sometimes, when I first fell here, I'd never fallen before, I felt like I was so far from where I'd started. And after the whole thing with the hag and I stopped thinking of it like I'd fallen and started thinking like I had a different mountain in front of me for the first time in my life. And it's always been a hard climb, but I'm excited to see where I go. And I hope you're there with me when you climb your own mountain someday.
I hope so too, my friend. Now, what are we cooking for dinner?
Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. I am so full of sugar. We need something with meat in it, like stat.
No meat for me, but I'm sure we can figure something out.
Yeah. You take the veggies, I'll take the steak.
We will conclude the 5th episode of Campaign 2, Open and Shut Investigations. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Woo!
One day you guys will fight a hag. One of these days.
Yeah.
She'll be back with a vengeance and more rats.
More rats, baby.
Rats.
All right. All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and I guess that we will catch you after our break.
Yes.
Bi-weekly, not that
2
bi-weekly.
weeks for Campaign 2, Season 1, Episode 6.
Yes.
Yes.
See y'all then.
Adios.
Act 1, Act 5, Scene 3.
Bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Open and Shut, a Rolling with Difficulty campaign. Check out Rolling with Difficulty on social media, and check out our Discord server for fun fan conversations. You can also email us at rollwithdifficulty@gmail.com with any questions, comments, or concerns. If you enjoyed the show, please rate us and leave a review on your preferred podcast platform, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you really enjoyed the show, consider becoming a patron for even more exclusive benefits like access to monthly bonus content created by all of our lovely cast. You got all that, Berks? Perfect. Then we'll catch you out on the streets of the cage.